Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Geek Matrix DC Comics Review Show, episode number, I forgot to look. 231?
Uh,
230. I'm running the show
2:30
today.
something.
230 something, that's for sure. Um, the name is just Brandon and Rob. I'm running the show today, and I'm still learning all this. I forgot to change the name of the episode. So, the name of the episode is
The
Brandon and
name
Rob,
is
because
Brandon and
Josh
Rob.
is not here.
We're doing a
He
quick
had to
rebrand.
do some dental surgery last week, so his jaw is practically wired shut. In fact, I spoke
Yep.
to him earlier today, and it was not going well for him.
Oof.
So speedy recovery, Josh. Hope you feel better
Hope you
soon.
feel better. Dude, get some well-earned
Oh
rest.
God, yeah,
We got you this week.
exactly. And boy, do we ever, because we have a plethora of books. Because we were not here last week,
Oh
as
boy.
last week on recording day, that's when Josh was going for his dental surgery. But at the
And
same time,
at the same time,
on the same
someone
day,
had a little something going on,
yeah, quite
as far as
possibly
I'm
at the
aware.
exact same time. I don't know what time Josh's appointment was, but I know what time my wife's appointment was when she gave birth to my second child at
Congratulations, man.
9:02 a.m. My son, my
My
boy,
son. My son.
my son,
Jor-El voice.
Simba. No, his name is Little Dean. He's Dean, Dino, Deanie boy. Um, he is adorable, and he looks just like me.
He does. I saw the pictures.
Yeah,
But
it's
also,
fucking
Haley
great.
looks just like you.
People
You
say
got
it's like here's
strong
here's the
genes,
funny
sir.
thing. Here's the funny thing, and I will say this. So everybody that has known me first or has known me more will say that my kids look like me. But the people that know Angela more, my wife, say that they look like her.
Hmm.
Dean is a different story because quite literally my mom bust out a newborn picture of me and the resemblance is uncanny.
Oh my
But
god.
for Haley, like that's what we got. People that knew me first said look like
Hmm.
me. People that knew Angela first said she looked like her. So I don't know what to
Interesting.
believe.
Cause
Yeah,
yeah, when you would send pictures of something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like I can see Rob's face. That's
yeah.
definitely you. But
It's probably just
I
like
don't
a
know, huh?
healthy mix of
Yeah,
facial features with the genetics. Like it's probably
it
all it
makes
is.
sense.
It's a little
Hmm.
good blend. But the boy definitely looks a lot more like me. I think he's got my wife's nose, but everything
Hmm.
else, as my dad used to call, he's got the trademark Argyle five head.
Five head.
Yeah,
Oh
because
boy.
we had really bad hairlines.
uh, which I'm sure does not help with the. Oh, look at me! I'm gonna sound like an asshole. I was gonna say with the um, lack of
Lack of hair. Yeah,
lack of you know what.
that's what it. Yeah, that's it's evolved to a ten head.
I'm sorry. I'm trying
The
not to say it
my
in a
my
mean way.
hairline starts at my back. No, but when I did have hair, and I grew it out a bit, and I like
Mm.
pulled my bangs up. You know how Vegeta's got that weird ass hairline? That's what it looked
Oh
like.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's wicked.
yeah. That's what my hairline was. It wasn't just like a straight line or whatever. It was literally like an
Mhm.
M. It was- Fuck. And to this day, I
Man.
can still feel where the hair was supposed to be.
Uh,
This is all gone. This is like smooth, but right here there's hair.
dang.
Right? It's bloody weird.
Could it
Uh,
like grow in any capacity or no?
no,
Whoa.
no, the hair
Okay.
just never grew in those two spots.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. Anyway, my boy's hair looks pretty much the same, but
Well, congratulations to you
thank you,
and
sir.
Angela. Hope you guys are getting some sleep.
We actually are. He's a pretty good sleeper. I'm surprised.
Mm,
Though Haley was
'cause
too after a while.
all I hear about newborns is, "Oh, we never sleep. Oh,
Yeah.
I regret."
Yeah. We've been fully expecting it for him as well as Haley. It was
Mhm.
like we're not looking forward to the lack of sleep, but
Yeah.
Haley was a bit of a struggle at first, but eventually she got used to sleeping all night, and then Dean just like right away.
Man.
He gets a bit fussy between 11 o'clock and midnight, but once we get him to sleep, he sleeps all night. Sometimes it's hard to feed him because
Mhm.
we'll like shove the bottle in his mouth just to wake him up, and then he'll start eating, and then he'll finish the bottle. We'll put the bottle down, go to burp him, and he's snoring.
Oh, what a cutie.
It's like I can't even burp you. Like,
Yeah.
wake the hell up, kid.
Nope. It's time for sleep.
Yeah, babies do sleep like 20 hours a day or something like that. They sleep as much as cats.
Damn. So they
Yeah,
can grow, I guess.
yeah. They need the rest, all that energy. Uh, great. So that's my news. That's Josh's news. What's going on with you, Brandon? Anything going on?
Oh man, nothing new to report. I hope I'm not sick. I've been feeling kind of lethargic the past few days, but hopefully that's just the. I don't know. It's weather's in a bit of a transitional period as we're making our way to spring. So I'm always wondering if it's am I sick or is it allergies or am I just horribly unhealthy? And I'm hoping it's something that I can blame, not my own irresponsibility.
Right.
But no, other than that, nothing, nothing crazy to report. Honestly, just kind of been catching up on some comics and yeah, and excited to get to talk about this week's books and last week's books, especially
Yeah.
because there's a lot to go over. And I know we're gonna kind of fly through a couple of them, but it'll be nice to get all caught up.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna do a lightning round review of last week's books that we would have covered. So we will not go through synopses. We'll just do the creative teams and then talk about them.
Mm,
Maybe like a quick 2 sentence thing. I'll spit out just like
yeah.
the basic idea of the book, and then
Hmm.
we'll do a quick chat about it. And then we'll get into our regular releases for the week.
Hell
Some
yeah.
very interesting books this week, very good issues. I'm excited to get into them. Um, I was going to bring up something first, though. Now I don't remember what the hell it was.
Can't
Oh, yeah.
remember a damn thing.
Speaking of reading books, like I finally caught up to my pull list.
Nice.
I finished my pull
I
list.
can't wait until I can do that. It's been so long. I've
it,
been fucked since August. Going to Prague, it ruined me.
oh
I don't think
yeah.
I'll like that. I don't think the last time I was ever like a full month without reading any comics might have been like the end of high school,
Mm,
which was over 5 years ago.
yeah.
And even then, COVID happened, so I had nothing but free time. But yeah, it's over. I think my pull list is just eternally fucked. I don't know if I can come back from this,
I
but
know. It
congrats.
what helped me was being on paternity leave. I had a lot of free time in the day
Hmm.
and at the hospital when we were just chilling there. Because all you can do is just sit around and wait for the baby to feed.
Yeah,
There's not much else you can do. Change a diaper, give him a bottle, let him rest.
yeah.
Right. So with doing that, I had a lot of free time. I excuse me, got my pull list down to Nice House by the Sea
Mm.
and what the hell's it called? Void Rivals.
Yeah.
So I just spent 2 3 days binging both those books. All six
Nice.
issues that had been out of Nice House by the Sea and all 16 issues of Void Rivals. Because I had read like the first couple
Yeah.
and then it
'Cause
fell off and I just skimmed through, so I wasn't
mhm.
getting like the bulk of the story.
Yeah. Because I
Um,
remember we had been talking about the first couple of issues as they were coming out.
and it was really good.
Mhm.
Binging it the past couple of days though, I'm so fucking hooked.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait for you to
Honestly,
read the new story arc because I've got a lot of theories about what's gonna
yeah.
happen.
Well, yeah, it's like I remember decisively. I stopped right when the uh, arc where they're introducing Pathona and the Cobra Law. I think that's issue 13.
Yeah,
That was like okay, I'm gonna like it didn't start that way. It was like okay, I'll get around to reading issue 13, and then issue 14 comes out. It's like okay, well I'm 2 issues behind, but I'll get to it, and you see where this is going.
yeah,
So yeah, I have completely fallen off the wagon with that one. But yeah, no, I do really want to get up to it. And honestly, the way that you went through it kind of feels like what I want to do because I'm worried I might have lost some of the plot threads just because it's been over a year. So it
yeah.
might be a good idea to just go back to issue one, dig
Just
everything
start
out,
over.
and just start over. Because
Yeah,
I did that with like I know you and I were reading the Incredible Hulk, and at points we kind of both agreed that it was a little slow and
yeah.
didn't feel like it much was happening. But every now and then, I think I mentioned like when I get behind on that book, I'll just reread the entire thing, and it's a much more seamless experience having like 15, 20 issues that you can read all in one go than
Yeah,
just the one every month.
and that was also my experience with Nice House by the Sea,
Mm-hmm.
because Nice House by the Lake, we all raved about it. We all know it was fan fucking tastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I just twice I opened the first issue for Nice House by the Sea, and I was just like, do I really want to get back into this? Like this just it looks so different. It's a different cast. I don't know if I care about it. I'm like, you know what? Just
Mm-hmm.
fucking give it a shot, right? And I'm so happy I gave it a shot. By the end of the first issue, I'm like, I need more right
Yeah.
now. Like that IV, Angela, give me the IV, inject this book directly into my veins. And
Ugh.
my God, am I not disappointed?
Yeah, I really miss not being on the back on that train. I think I mentioned it a few times, but I just the problem with the state of comics right now is like there's about 15 things you could and want to be reading at the same time, but one, there's just not enough time, and two, it's impossible to keep track of everything. So every time I want to add something to my pull list, it inevitably means that something else is getting dropped or something else is getting abandoned, which is why
Exactly.
there's like 4 or 5 unfinished series that I've read, maybe 1 or 2 issues of that I have not finished.
And what kills me is when I've done it a few times where I've had a backlog and I catch up with my pull list and I'm just like,
Mm.
well, I'm done now. What else can I add? Right? It's like
Yeah.
now I need something to read, and I'm just like, do I really want to increase my pull list size again? And I just remembered I got to add Radiant Black on there because I haven't
Oh
actually
God.
started Radiant Black. I
Yeah.
saw issue 31 came out last week,
Yeah. They
so it's
they
finally back.
yeah, they're just starting their post Radiant War arc. And I did read that one, but I feel like I did myself a bit of a disservice just because I'd kind of fallen off during the Radiant War, so I don't really remember how that concluded. But I mean, it was nice to read an issue again. I forgot how much I really enjoyed the series.
Yeah. Let's see if I can do a quick count of my. Like I showed my wife and my best friend the size of my pull list,
Oh my God.
and they just like, holy
I
shit.
haven't I
But
haven't
I
even
imagine it's nowhere near the size of Josh's, let alone yours.
Yeah, it's just well, honestly, I don't even know the extent of my pull list anymore because there
Yeah.
was a time where I was keeping really meticulous track of it, and then about 2 years ago, I just completely went out the window. But the last time I counted, I think it was somewhere between 35 to 40 a month, and mind you, that was after I'd cut down.
Holy shit. So with the current issues that are out right now, and quite
Mhm.
honestly, I think I could take Black Lightning off as that's finished.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll say currently 50.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's across DC, Marvel, and a few other indie books. Though I will, I'm also counting crossover on that.
Mhm.
That's still on my pull list because I
That's a
don't want
bit
to take it
generous.
off. Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
take it off just in case it ever comes back. Right. And some of these are minis.
Mhm.
Some of these are limited series. A lot of them are new number ones as well. So,
Yeah,
like,
you never know.
that number can be amended later down the road. But for now, it's
Mhm.
50-51 issues.
Yeah.
Right.
Man.
And I want to add more. And that's a month. I want to at least add Radiant Black to the list.
Oh, well,
And I want to get
add
into
at
more
your
of
own
the.
peril.
I know, right? I want to add more of the Ghost Machine stuff because the
Oh
Rockefellers,
God,
Rockefellers is fantastic.
Rockefellers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one that's like, I just this is why I'm like I think it's done. I don't think I can ever fully catch back up because at one point I was fully caught up with all the Ghost Machine stuff with Geiger,
Yeah.
Redcoat. Rook was still going. It's on hiatus right now.
Yeah.
And I think this was before Rockefellers and Hornsby and Halo had come out, so it was only 3, which was pretty manageable. But now it's ballooned to 5 with
Yeah.
No, 6 with
Yeah, I was gonna say there's more. It might even be 7 now.
yeah, because
Because
it's
Tomasi's got 2.
Tomasi's got Halo, Hornsby, and Halo, which I'm mercifully caught up on. Rockefellers, which I only just caught up on. I missed the last 2 issues,
Right.
and then on the what is it? The Unknown War, like basically Jeff Johns universe.
Yeah.
There's the ones that are currently going are Geiger, Redcoat, Hyde Street, and Rook is on hiatus, but it's coming back in 2 months.
Right.
So that's 4,
And
if I'm
then
not mistaken.
yeah, and then there's a couple other writers too, if I'm not mistaken, as well, right?
Yeah, I mean Brad Meltzer and
Yeah.
Jeff are gonna do a new book called First Ghost with Gene Ha. I don't know if that's an ongoing or a mini series. So that's now 6, and I'm sure they have plans for other
7.
things. Oh yeah, and I know I don't even know if this book is still happening, but I know there was word of another book that Tomasi was doing. He There was like an ad for a book that he and Brad Walker were gonna do called Snipe and Slug, and I don't know if that book got canceled or if it's gonna be repurposed for a Family Odysseys, which is his universe, like book. But
Right.
if that's the case, I could see that happening. But if that's the case, that would be 8 titles right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just
As it
that's
gets
just
bigger.
that's just one universe within the plethora of image universes that are out right now.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on all the tiny onion books that are going on right now.
Right. And then you get back into like the Energon universe. Speaking of, this is
Yeah.
what's bugging me right now. Is like, I got a bone to pick with you, and I understand the pull list getting excessive
Uh
and a little hard to catch up on, but you've gotten me onto a lot of these books.
I
and
know.
and I get
I
excited.
know.
Oh, I'm gonna read this. Oh, I wonder if
I
Brandon
know.
read it yet.
I
Like text
know.
him, and you're just like,
I
I'm so
know.
behind. I haven't read that in like 3 issues.
I
Like, what
I
the
know.
hell?
I know. I'm sorry. It's you of all people know how easy it is to just
Yeah,
completely fall behind because
yeah,
it starts with one issue, one becomes 3 and 3 becomes 5, and by the time
yeah,
you're 5 issues behind you're like I fucking give up. Like it's too
yeah.
much.
But like,
Um
I did actively try to like catch up on books that I know you guys have wanted me to read, so we
mhm,
could talk about them because I
yeah.
understand that excitement.
Ugh, I know. I
But then I
know.
went and added like 6 Marvel titles to my pull
Just
list.
like
I got
uh
like 4 different X books. I got Iron Man, I got Venom, I got Carnage.
not to mention all the ultimate titles.
All the Ultimate titles, yeah. Excuse me. Which just grew again with Wolverine.
Yep.
And Absolute Comics is growing again. And
And
DC
is
keeps
going
bringing
to
out more
grow
books.
again. Apparently, there's rumors of 2 more books they're gonna do,
There's
but it
got to
looks
be
like Martian.
Aquaman.
Yeah, Martian Manhunter might be a mini series, so
Oh, really?
we'll see where that goes. Yeah, it's um, solicited at 6 issues right now, but obviously that could change with the
Yeah.
pre-order sales. But yeah, I'm sorry, dude. I want to be that guy. I really do,
I
but
know,
it
I
just
know. I don't actually
it has
blame you.
become too much.
I 100% get it. What
But I
what's
do. What's
another
up?
thing is I wanna recommend some books to you, but I also know how hefty your pull list is and how hard it is to catch up.
I mean,
Like
please do.
Power Rangers Prime right now is actually really good, and pun kind of intended. It is a prime time to read Power Rangers comics.
Damn. Well, I
Yeah,
do like to hear that.
it's only on issue 4, and it is a brand new universe. You need to know absolutely nothing about what happened before,
Oh, okay.
as far as I know.
Huh.
As far as we know so far, it's a kind of thing where like history went a different way 40
Mhm.
years earlier
Okay.
from how we all know it to be in Power Rangers continuity. And then basically the entire Earth had just changed,
Right.
and then you get a new team of Power Rangers on this new timeline.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
Because I remember a little while ago you'd mentioned there was a new run on Power Rangers. I think you said Melissa Flores was doing it.
yeah,
That was pretty good. And I never did get to check that out, but I did want to go back and read some of that stuff
yeah.
because it sounded pretty good from what you were saying.
She had done the last 20 21 issues, I think it was,
Okay.
of the last run, the last numbering, because it started number one some like fucking 10 years ago or something, right?
Yeah, I remember
And then
that, the Kyle
yeah,
Higgins stuff.
and then eventually it split into two different books. It was Power Rangers and it was Mighty Morphin, or
Okay.
Go Go Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin, or something like that. And then they
Mhm.
eventually converged back into one title as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and it combined the numberings to form the new numbering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and then eventually it got to issue 100, and that's when Kyle Higgins stepped off and Melissa
Right.
Flores took over.
Ah,
And
okay.
then she did the rest of the run with one gigantic freaking arc that was hella good.
That's awesome.
And then it ended, and now she's doing Power Rangers Prime.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Oh boy. You, sir, are going to ruin my life. 'Cause now I want to add something else.
I hope not. Well, you want to add Power Rangers Prime?
Might want to add Power Rangers Prime.
Yeah. I'm liking this 80s and 90s cartoon and kids show resurgence in comics. It's really fucking good.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what other properties Dynamite and Boom Studios are gonna bring up next for their next relaunch.
Yeah. I'm really hoping, and I get the rights are going to be hard to nail down, but
Mm.
I'm really hoping somebody does reboot.
Huh.
I would love to see
Reboot?
a reboot comic series.
Mm.
That was like my all-time favorite cartoon as a kid.
Do you think there's enough like attention for that?
I hope so. I think so. Once people see it and remember it, like it was a beloved
Mm.
cartoon from
Yeah.
back in the day, right back in the early '90s,
Mm.
and I'm still on the subreddit, and it still gets like a lot of talk. And
Wow.
a couple of people were actually working on a documentary about the show recently
Huh.
over the past few years, and also had kind of a side project where they were trying to get the original tapes to upscale them to like
Oh yeah.
4K or something.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
they
because I
got the
assume it's
tapes, and then for like a couple months they were looking for somebody to find a machine that could actually
mm.
play the tapes because it was a special kind of tape.
Right.
And they couldn't fucking find a machine. They
Oh,
finally got one.
wasn't like VHS or something.
No, it wasn't like a typical VHS. I don't remember what the
Huh.
tape was called, but it was a special tape they had for digital TV production back in the day.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it was a computer generated series.
Mm.
It was one of the first computer generated series. So I guess it needed a special kind of tape or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
But yeah, they've been working on that, and just like it's garnering a lot of hype right now, and people that loved the show never forgot it, myself included.
Mm.
So much so that when they rebooted it with the Guardian Code, nobody watched it, and
Really?
those that did, they hated themselves.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, the nostalgia is hot right now, so
Yeah,
there may be something there. Maybe
I
the
honestly
documentary will
wouldn't
bring
even
attention to it.
mind. Yeah,
And
I know it's a long shot and it may be a bit iffy for some readers, but I
uh,
would not mind in the slightest if they somehow incorporated reboot into the Energon universe.
yeah, if they like I said, if they could get the rights,
Yeah,
who even owns that?
I don't even know now. It used to be owned by a company called Mainframe Entertainment, which is based out of Vancouver.
Okay,
Excuse me, that was the studio that made Reboot and Beast Wars,
okay,
um, which was Transformers, and
right.
that's why I think there's the connection there.
Hmm.
They also made another show called Shadow Raiders, and then eventually just fell under, and the company went under um, in like 2004, 2005,
Hmm.
something like that, and just never really got picked back up. I don't know who owns it now. Unless
Yeah.
Mainframe is still around, they just haven't done anything with it. Because the CEO is a bit of a dumbass.
Is it is it like based on a toy line or was it just a TV show? Because I'm wondering if it's like a media rights thing, like who owns the actual rights to produce content about it, whether that be comics or a TV show.
I think Reboot was 100% created by Mainframe, so I think it was a
Okay.
show first,
Right.
and then it was a toy line. Because it did have toys, but the toys weren't
Yeah.
great, right? There wasn't a lot of them. Not like Beast Wars, which had like dozens upon dozens of animal transformers, even ones that didn't exist in the show. So, like Transformers, any show is going to be made to sell toys. But Reboot, I think, was the opposite. It was a show for a show, and the toys were the advertisement for the show. I would say anyway. It was a fucking good show. It's one of the first shows I ever watched as a kid that later on down the line had jokes for adults. And that was fun. You still there? We may have lost Brandon. Okay. All right.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hello. Oh, okay. I guess my signal cut off. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
No worries. Um, but yeah, it was one of the first shows I ever watched as a kid that
Mm.
later on down the line, as the seasons went on, had jokes made for adults that the
Mm.
kids wouldn't really get.
Yeah, I was saying I guess that must have been just when I cut out. It's funny when you can watch a show like that and you can appreciate it in different ways when you're
Yeah.
older.
I wouldn't even say like down the line because the whole premise of Reboot, it was inside a computer,
Mm.
and like the motherboard was like a city
Mm.
where all these what they called binomes and sprites lived.
Mm.
And ever so often the user, which is basically the guy that owned the computer, would input a game,
Mm.
and it would be this giant purple GameCube would come crashing down onto the city, and anybody that got trapped by the purple cube would
Mm.
be put into this game, and they have to play the game, and if they lost, they would get killed basically.
Jesus.
And a section of the city would just be destroyed,
Mm.
um, which wild freaking take, but that's what they did. Um, but every so often they do like games that were either original ideas, like a fantasy game, or like
Uh-huh.
a racing game, where they'd have games based on games that actually exist. Like they had a Dungeons and Dragons kind of game. But
Mm.
every so often they'd also have games based on movies. Like the very first episode, and I could be wrong, I'm pretty sure it was the first episode, the
Mm.
game was based on Mad Max.
Oh wow.
Which, when you're 4 years old watching Reboot
Yeah.
and you're watching a Mad Max episode, you're like, this is so cool. What's
Not
Mad
exactly
Max?
the not exactly the audience base that you'd expect to be familiar with Mad Max.
Exactly. It's fantastic.
Mm.
Um, and then later on down the line, like season 2, they had an episode which had a game based on The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez.
right. It's just like this is something like teenagers and adults will get it and appreciate it, but kids just going to enjoy it for the ride, right? That's
Yeah.
it's one of those
Just wanna see
shows,
cool
and it
shit
was
happen.
so fucking good. Yeah. Excuse me, I have fond memories of that show. So
Mm.
that no, I really hope that it can get a comic series down the line,
You never know.
and hopefully Energon Universe. I don't know how that would be incorporated because it takes place in a computer, but maybe Mainframe exists inside the Energon. I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, um, let's. What do you say? Get into our books. Or wait, we have some
I
news.
say
We have some
yes.
actual news to talk about.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah. This is so busy talking about other stuff.
I got about fucking old cartoons.
Yeah. Which is like a bi-monthly thing that we talk about. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? What do we got? What do we got? I know I had something. Right. Marvel announced this week a couple of new books, but not without. Sorry, what am I trying to say? Announced a couple of new books this week, but not least of all, what the hell am I trying to say? They got new Thunderbolts. Basically, what I'm
Yes.
trying to say. But it's a very weird lineup. Um, Not something many people ever would have expected out of this, and a lot of the comments, including a lot of people on our Discord, agreed that it feels more like a Defenders team than a Thunderbolts team, but they're still going to the idea of Thunderbolts. So you have Winter Soldier, Black Widow. Fair enough. You
Mm.
have Laura Linney, Wolverine.
Which
Okay, cool.
is can I just say is crazy to me that because I think the first time, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first time Winter Soldier was on a Thunderbolts lineup was like 2015,
Yeah.
2016, and he's just become the de facto Thunderbolts member, even more so than the original Thunderbolts. Like you
Yeah.
never see Songbird or
No.
any of the other people who were actually on that
No.
original
No.
lineup
Any of the
anymore.
OG Thunderbolts are like not there
No.
anymore. I mean, for
I
me, it was
guess
Luke Cage for some reason.
huh.
And then, yeah, I think after they had that Red Hulk led team, I
Mm,
think Winter Soldier was on that, where everybody
yeah.
had a red and black style. Um, I think he was on that team, and ever since then, yeah, he's been like the guy that runs
Yeah.
Thunderbolts all the time.
I guess there was that one brief Hawkeye led Thunderbolts
Oh yeah,
from Devil's Reign, but that was like a blip in the whole history of the Thunderbolts.
that was a weird one.
Yeah. Although I actually going back, that book was pretty fun.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess I always liked seeing Clint in the team leader capacity,
hmm
and so even leading a team like that and kind of having to work with Mayor Fisk was interesting.
yeah, I can see that. All right, so they have Laura Linney Wolverine. There's Namor. There's the Hulk, complete with long hair, so you know it's Bruce Banner as the current Hulk. You have
Mhm.
Clea, and you have Eddie Brock Carnage
Yeah.
as the Thunderbolts.
Which, for anyone who's reading the Eddie Brock Carnage series, is that any good? I don't know. I haven't
I
checked it
read the
out.
first issue. I liked it.
Mm.
I think I read the second issue. Do you have the second issue out? I don't remember.
I have no idea. But I saw that. I was like, I didn't even know he was like Carnage. And I was like, what the fuck? But
Oh, there's
it
only
looked
one issue
interesting.
so far. Yeah, that one. That's honestly legit. The only reason I was drawn to it because it was Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
Like, huh? I could give two shits about Carnage in any other capacity. I've never really cared. I've read a couple Carnage series over the years, never really
Mm.
cared about
Yeah.
him. It's just like Venom, but he likes blood. Like I don't
Oh, cool.
care,
Yeah.
right? But with the idea of it being Eddie Brock and all the changes Eddie's gone through, the character development he's gone through over the past few years, like, this could be really interesting. And I wasn't
Mm.
wrong. It's actually really interesting,
Yeah.
and it all spins out of I want to say it was Venom War, whatever the
Yeah,
little
that Al Ewing
yeah the
event.
big event at the
Yeah, I
end of his Venom
like
run.
had completely skipped out on that one, so I
Yeah,
don't even know what happened.
I did not read that either. I dropped Venom pretty early on.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I had such high hopes for that run,
Yeah,
but ultimately was just not my cup of tea. But
yeah.
it's I mean I don't even know if that book is still going, but it went for a while,
It's
longer
not.
than I expected.
Venom War was its last story arc,
Yeah.
and then it finished,
Oh
and then we
right, because they're
got
doing the all new Venom thing right now.
yeah, they got all new Venom and Eddie Brock Carnage,
Yeah.
which I have a theory about all new Venom that the new Venom could be Paul,
Oh god,
and I really hope it's
gonna
not.
kill myself. uh, I was really hoping it was Rick Jones, but I got spoiled for the current issue, and I
Oh, you did,
found out
yeah.
it is not Rick Jones.
It's not Rick Jones.
But Rick Jones is well, I don't want to spoil anything. But
Yeah,
Rick Jones
he
is
he does have a
something.
new identity, but
He does
it's
have a
not
new
Venom.
identity.
Yeah, which I need to like read up on that character because I was reading about that. This is, I guess, semi giving it away. That
Mm.
version of the character through Al Ewing's run. I was like, who the
Yeah.
fuck is this? I don't. Right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess if you didn't really know of him, your first introduction to Rick Jones would just be that horrible, like, morphic creature in
No, no, I'm
Immortal
not talking
Hulk.
about Rick Jones. I'm talking about his new identity.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, right, right,
I
right.
know Rick Jones like
Yeah,
back in like original Hulk days and
yeah,
Avengers, and he was the second Bucky, and he was Captain Marvel. and then he was
You're
on
talking about the. Oh
A-Bomb.
yeah, I see. You're talking about the other one.
Yeah. Rick Jones, the most complicated man in history.
At least in the last 10 years or so.
Maybe the last 50 years or so.
Yeah, that character, the other one, the other aspect of Rick's new identity.
Yeah.
Was that a Donny Cates creation?
I don't
I
know.
think so, right? Because like
'Cause
the first
I
time I remember
didn't
that
read
popping
Donny
up was.
Cates Venom Run.
Oh wow, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it might be. Um, Pretty
Well, I
sure
did look it
that's.
up, and it was like Venom number 100 something. So maybe,
Huh.
but I don't really know where the numbering was because it didn't say
Yeah.
a year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
It's kind of hard to read up on because the Marvel Wiki page for it, there's two versions of the same name, and there's
Yeah.
the character we're talking about, and then there's some
A different.
robots that were
Yeah.
made by the Red Skull back in World War II
Yeah.
that also had that name. So
Mm.
on the article page, it had the origins of both characters. Like this is
Yeah.
hard to follow. Just have a disambiguation. That's all you gotta do.
Very confusing.
Yeah. Anyway, no. So yeah, that's my theory about all new Venom. I hope to God I'm wrong, but
I also hope to God you're wrong.
yeah, for people that are caught up, mild spoilers. For people that aren't caught up, I mean to say some spoilers. I really don't think it's Robbie Robertson.
It's a fun idea, but yeah, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I think next issue Robbie's gonna show up where Venom currently is, and everybody's gonna like, well, if it's not you,
And it's
and
gotta
I'm
be.
here, and he's there, and Luke's over there, then who the fuck, you know?
It would be funny if it was none of those people and it was just a random other person.
Yeah, like Paul.
And like the you eliminate. I could see Al Ewing pulling some fuck you shit like that, where it's like they've eliminated everyone else and they're like it's got to be Paul, and then Paul just comes out and he's like, "Are you guys talking about me?"
No, Paul, shut up, leave.
No, fuck off. Go back to that weirdo dimension that you were in.
Yeah, nobody there wants you either. God damn. That's the
I
thing,
hope
like,
that is what happens. Honestly.
I wouldn't. I honestly would be okay with that too. But the thing is, having read a lot of Al Ewing over the past few years, I
Mm.
don't see him pulling that kind of style, especially with like what Jeremy Adams was. I think it was Jeremy Adams, or maybe it was Philip Kennedy Johnson was saying. Like when you're building a mystery,
Mm.
you want to leave some clues, and you want the mystery to be able to be found by the reader, right?
Mm.
You don't want it to just be a mystery and the reader just is just surprised at the end. You want them to like be caught up into the mystery and have clues and be able to
Of
like
course, yeah.
figure it out along with the characters. For
Mm.
so for them, Al Ewing to just have this list of suspects and like it's one of these four people, and like that's definitely a red herring because it
Mm.
might not be one of these four people. Why do you think it's only one of these four people? Right?
Right.
It could be anybody else, and like
Mm.
Dylan, MJ, and Paul are the only other players in this book.
Mhm.
Right? There's literally nobody else.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
it's MODOK or Andrew Forson, but we know it's not them either because both of them have fought Venom at this time.
Mm. I think if I learned anything from the marketing of Heroes in Crisis, it's to completely expect the unexpected. Because I remember for a while they were really playing up the idea that like these are the 4 or 5 or 6 people that are gonna die, and Tim Drake was one of them. Only to
Right.
find out he has like one panel in the entire story, and it's during a confessional.
Yeah.
So I'm always wondering if it's all just a ploy to completely throw you off and introduce a different element. But there are definitely people who can even pick up clues from that, like someone you don't even expect from the marketing, but they're still able to figure out who it is based on a cameo in the story or something like that.
Yeah. I just like swear to God if it's Paul, please Al Ewing, don't do this to
Uh,
us.
what if it's Randy Robertson?
Has
I
he been
wouldn't
in
even be
any
mad.
issues?
I no, he's not shown up, but I wouldn't even be against that. That would be
Yeah.
way better than Paul. Way better. I'd even take Robbie over Paul, even though that would make even less sense for Robbie to be Venom over Paul. And I will forever just call him Paul because I have no idea what his last name is. I don't fucking care to learn his last name.
No one cares.
I don't even think he has a last name. I don't think the writers care to give him a last name. It doesn't matter. His name is just Paul, and he sucks. But like, I would much prefer Robbie, the worst choice of the four suspects, over Paul.
I agree.
Like shit.
I think we just need to be rid of Paul.
Danny
I
Rand.
think we can all agree that. Oh my god. Isn't Danny Rand dead?
Nobody stays dead in comics. I didn't even know he was he. Is he dead?
I think so. I don't
Oh
know.
shit!
Like I remember seeing some tease that he was gonna come back to life. So yeah, you're right. Nobody stays dead.
I didn't even
But
know
I
he was
don't
dead.
know if it
I
was.
have not been following Iron Fist for years.
God, yeah. I think the last Iron Fist thing I was reading was when Ed Brisson was writing the book like 5 years ago.
Oh damn.
Um, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I know they had introduced some new Iron Fist, and I was like, okay. But yeah, I have no idea what else is going on. But yeah, I think last thing I remember hearing was that he had died somehow.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. There's there is a new Iron Fist. He was Swordsmaster.
Yeah.
Excuse me. He was on the Agents of Atlas. I think as Swordmaster, not as Iron Fist.
Yeah,
And
I
now he's
think you
just
might be
kind of
right.
like around. And a lot of people hate him because of Marvel Rivals,
Hmm.
where he is one of the most broken characters in the game.
Man, is that game like notorious or something?
It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't say it's notorious. There's very few bad things being said about it. Anything that is bad
Mm,
is just people having a hard time fighting against certain characters, which
okay.
means that the game is good.
Mm,
It's not that it's built bad; it's actually built really well.
right.
Um, there's very few issues. It's just they get mad when somebody gets so good with a character, it's not even fair,
Right. Gotcha.
right? And there's some characters that are way easier to use than others.
Mm,
Like, for instance, Scarlet Witch, Iron Fist, to a certain degree, Moon Knight, where you can
hmm.
just pick up the character, have never played the game before in your life, skip the fucking tutorial, and you're just like, you go out into the battle not knowing what you're doing, you can get a few
Yeah.
kills,
Dang.
right? That's how easy some of these characters are to use.
Mm,
But other characters are a little harder.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Iron Fist is just like, just hold down the attack button and run. That's all it is.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going through. My mind got distracted for a second because I was like, what has happened to Danny Rand in like the last 2 years? And I saw he was in Devil's Reign, and I completely forgot about that. And then I looked at a panel from Devil's Reign. I was like, oh my god, that was when Ben Riley was Spider Man again.
What
And
the
I
hell?
almost forgot about that too
That was a.
during the
Oh
Beyond storyline.
yeah. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that happened.
Jesus. That is forever immortalized in Devil's Reign.
Yeah.
It's on the back cover too, damn.
Yeah. What a freaking time that was. And now Ben Riley is edgier than Venom in the
Oh
90s.
god, don't even remind me. That chasm bullshit.
Like I know people that like Chasm, and like by all means like
Who?
what you want to like.
Who? Please introduce them to me, because I've never met a single one of them.
I think Josh likes Chasm, but that's he just likes the costume. I think because I don't think he's ever read Chasm in his life.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think anyone who actually finished Beyond and attempted to read, what was that, Dark Web, actually liked
God.
Chasm as a character.
I like Ben Riley as a character, and I think
Yes.
his original 90s Spider Man costume was the best Spider Man costume, in my personal opinion.
Like, of all Spider Man costumes?
Yes. The one
Wow,
with like
jeez.
like the the web cartridges on the outside and like
Uh-huh.
full blue sleeves and full blue legs. I fucking love that costume. Right? I think that is my absolute favorite Spider Man costume of all time. Some people
Mm.
call me crazy, but that is one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man costumes, if not my all-time favorite.
I
Um,
might also call you crazy, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, I don't see things wrong with it. It's really just like an update to the original Spider-Man costume. If you think about it, it really is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just in my eyes, maybe because I'm just that's just the Spider-Man costume that I know, but it's impossible to beat the original in my mind. It's like atop a golden pedestal that can never ever ever be reached.
But the thing about it is, and again, you're gonna call me fucking crazy. I don't really care for the original Spider-Man
Oh
costume.
my god, you are crazy.
I just like
You crazy, man.
it. To me, it doesn't scream spider, right?
I
I've never
mean,
understood the color scheme, the
yes, but
layout,
like
the
also who cares?
design.
It looks cool.
Does it though?
I don't need it to look
Or
like
is
a
it just what we've always
spider.
known? The
I
Ben
just
Riley
I just
Spider-Man costume looks way cooler,
oh my god.
and it
Um
does kind of exude the idea of a spider a little more, in my
I'll say it again. You crazy.
opinion. um, so I do like Ben Riley, um, but yeah, I read Dark Web reluctantly,
Ugh.
and I hate
You
Chasm.
probably finished it. I couldn't even get that far.
I don't even remember if I finished it or not. I just know I stopped reading ASM again
Hmm.
around Dark Web, if not
Yeah.
shortly after Dark Web. That was like my second or third chance I gave that book, and that was just done. There was some cool ideas. I like Rec Rap. He was fun.
The one appealing character,
The
I
one
guess.
appealing character, yeah. Having Venom involved was a cool idea, and the X Men, but that was it. This whole thing of like this is Clone Saga 3.5 because you have Ben Riley and Madeline Pryor once again trying to get back at Jean Grey and Peter Parker for no fucking reason.
Well, that was what frustrated me so. I mean, you could take this shit all the way back to Amazing Spider Man Beyond. Once again, we go on yet another Spider Man rant. What else is new? But this shit cuts deep. But like it just it felt like the ultimate fuck you to people who, especially people who were fans of Ben Riley, but for people who even just had, I don't know, introduced to the character and were like, yeah, I kind of like, this guy and his story, and that he's always struggling with this imposter syndrome, never feeling like a full person, but really wants to be a hero, a spider. Basically having him completely fall apart in the last few issues of Beyond, and then become this like sort of dark, edgy hero is just I couldn't understand what they were trying to achieve. I know they had to bring back Pete, but I'm like, God damn, couldn't you just let him be? Just let him go off to like San Francisco or something and be Spider Man.
Yeah,
Who's gonna complain?
people in San Francisco probably, but no, you're right
Fuck
though.
them.
It's legit. They don't all have to be in New York.
So yeah, I don't know. I remember going in like, Beyond feels like a gimmick. Ben Riley, just let him be. Don't drag him back into this spider nonsense. And then you read the first few issues, and you're like, oh, actually, I kind of like this. I'm glad to see him back in the spotlight. I'm glad he's getting some attention. And they just completely fuck him over in that last half, and I will never forget it. And I know it's been over 4 years, and I don't care.
Yeah. But the other guy I know for sure that I know likes Chasm, and I also know for a fact that he probably did not read that whole story with Chasm.
Yeah.
Is Brady, my friend Brady,
Mm.
who's in our Discord as Russell.
Huh.
Um, he also loves the costume, and I just every time he says it, I want to bring it up. It's like, what the hell do you love about it? But he also, I think, really likes dark, edgy characters. So
I mean, look, there's a time and a place for dark, edgy characters, but sometimes you just gotta say enough is enough.
yeah,
Especially when someone like Ben, who was literally dead for like 20 years, and then brought back only to be an edgy character before finally getting a reprieve as Scarlet Spider and then getting cast aside again. I'm like, can we just give him a break, please? You brought him
Yeah.
back just to fuck with him again. What is the point?
Hey, as I was reading Dark Web, and I was seeing what was happening with Ben as Chasm and his I can't remember her name, her his girlfriend at the time,
Oh,
who
Janine
Jane something,
Godby? Janine
uh,
Godby?
who became I can't remember the villainess name either. Some
Oh, Hallows Eve. God,
Hollow's
I
Eve,
hate this
yeah.
shit.
And the whole time I was reading it, every issue with Chasm and Hollow's Eve, I'm just like, couldn't we just left this shit in the '90s?
Please?
Can't we
I thought we were
like?
done with this.
Can't we move on? why? Why is this a
And
thing?
like, if you really, I mean, honestly, this would probably be worse, but I'm like, if you really want to do the whole edgy, dark Peter Parker thing, isn't that what Kane Parker is for? Like, I know he had his whole
Yeah,
redemption, and he was Scarlet Spider, and that run actually is really underrated, and he was in the New Warriors for a bit, and I don't know what the fuck's going on with Kane Parker. I think they forgot he exists. But I'm
yeah.
like, that
I've
was
never seen
your,
him.
that was your de facto evil Peter Parker clone. If you
Yep.
want someone, just use him. It is character regression, but like I don't know, don't take someone who, for the most part, was not that character and just make him miserable and vengeful and all this other crap.
Yeah. It's just a damn shame.
It is a damn shame.
Maybe one day the truth will come out in the spider offices. Right now, I'm just waiting for the 8 deaths or many deaths of Spider-Man or whatever the current arc is to finish off. I was going to read it, but
Yeah,
like we talked about earlier, my pull list was way too big at the time, so that got the chopping block. So I'm just gonna wait for that to
waiting
finish
for the
off.
new, yeah, the new number one to come out, and then
Yeah,
I'm like, please, Joe Kelly has written some Spider-Man stuff before. Some of it, okay. I'm not a huge fan of the Grim Hunt, but is
well,
hopefully a better choice for Spider-Man than Zeb Wells.
yeah.
So I'm just praying that this will be a more, I don't know, forward-thinking Spider-Man book. But I always say that, and then they never are, and I'm just disappointed.
Grim Hunt, was that like the big Craven story post One More Day?
Yeah, that was, oh god, it was
Right.
like the children of Craven
Yeah.
trying to perform some kind of ritual or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he was involved somehow as well, like his body or something.
Yeah, it was his spirit because at that point I think this might have been the story that actually brought him back.
Yeah, if I remember right. It's
Um
been years, but yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I remember liking it at the time. Like, I remember thinking that was one of the better Spider Man stories at the time.
It is
Because
it's
that wasn't
okay. It's
long
written
after.
okay.
It was around, if not like the end of the Gauntlet, if I remember right.
Um it's probably around the same time, yeah.
Yeah. And like it finished
Um
off with Craven, like one of his deadliest enemies, coming
yeah.
back to life and like, okay, you just got put through the ringer with some of your biggest enemies and damn near your whole A list and B list rogues gallery, and well, here's the guy that can kill you very, very easily. Good luck.
Mhm.
That was a hell of a time. That was like the last time I might be able to say I truly enjoyed Spider-Man comics.
Interesting. It's funny because I think a lot of people are still kind of iffy on that period. What's that?
Yeah,
It's like 2010.
yeah. Like I
Uh,
completely agree and I completely understand it. And like there was a lot of stuff during that time where I was just this is stupid.
yeah.
But I really enjoyed the Gauntlet and the Grim Hunt. I really
Mhm.
enjoyed those storylines, um, and some other stuff surrounding it. Like once they'd gotten past all the one more day bullshit and just like
Yeah.
course corrected into what they were going to get to, I'm like okay, like they're doing some Spider-Man stuff now, and like we need to just forget about the past because they're not gonna fucking touch it. And, like okay,
Yeah.
I'll get used to it, and some of the stuff is actually quite good.
No, there were some good story arcs in between that or post Brand New Day era. I will still defend Spider Island. I know people hate that storyline.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's just because like I like gimmicky storylines because I have terrible taste. But I remember rereading that one, or not rereading, but like reading that one in a, you know, when it was all collected, and I was like, it's actually kind of fun. Like this
Yeah.
is, yes, the status quo is still what it is, but like taken in isolation, some storylines like that are just, you can enjoy them without having to constantly feel like, oh, Peter Parker has to be this, this, and this. I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
weird thing. Like, on the one hand, yes, I want Peter to constantly be moving forward and not stuck in arrested development. But at the same time, I'm such a sucker for a fun Spider-Man arc that embraces all the classic elements of Spider-Man. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just as conflicted as the Spider-Man editors. Who's to say?
I'm sorry. Like after you said Peter Parker and Arrested Development, my mind completely checked out. Because all I can think of
Is
is
Arrested Development?
every so often Peter's like, "I've made a huge mistake,"
That
and then
was a
you
deliberate
got
choice of words.
Tobias is the thing, and
Who's Michael Cera? Is Michael Cera Peter Parker?
oh, Michael Cera's got to be Peter Parker.
And this was the day that Peter Parker made out with someone who may or may not have been his cousin.
After he was asked that question, Peter Parker was very still, and he pondered the question, trying to figure it out and answer. It was at this point his unyielding internal clock knew it was 15 seconds since he was asked that question, where he'd been standing in total silence. Oh my god, that was such a good show.
Oh my god.
Now I'm picturing Norman Osborn doing a chicken dance. Now I'm picturing Willem Dafoe doing a chicken dance.
I could actually see that.
That would be so cool. Oh my god, what a terrific show that was. If only it didn't shit.
Yeah. I didn't watch those later seasons.
I watched the first season and I fell off after that. I think.
Yeah.
Unless I did watch it, I just forgot. I don't know. What was first on anyway? All right. So, do you want to bring up the last bit of news we have, and then we'll get into our books?
What is the last bit of news?
The thing you sent to Josh earlier.
Oh, right. Yeah, just a kind of a brief thing, but for any art fans out there and for any Jorge Jimenez fans out there, you might enjoy this. But DC has a history of doing art books to highlight and celebrate particular high-profile, really talented artists working at DC currently. And none other than Mr. Jorge Jimenez is getting that treatment with a new book coming out from DC and Clover Press. The art of Jorge Jimenez that's going to highlight all, if most of his work, I assume, in DC Comics. I'm assuming it's only going to cover, like, maybe Earth 2 and beyond, because I would be very shocked to see pencils from, like, Superboy from 2014 in here, but you never know. But yeah, no, it's going to highlight some of his covers, some of his line work, all that stuff. And I don't know anything about release date or anything like that. Sounds like there's a Kickstarter involved, but should be really cool for people who are fans of his work and want to see it in this kind of bigger, more art-focused format. So yeah, check it out whenever that comes out.
That Jimenez was one of the guys on Earth 2.
Yeah.
I just looked at the spines of my trades, and yeah, it's right there. Earth 2.
Yeah, that's like the first time I really remember seeing his name in prominence, and then obviously was doing Superman during Rebirth. But it's funny because it's amazing how someone's art can completely transform over such a short period of time. Because I remember when Earth 2, was that World's End, was coming out, and I was like, this doesn't look that good. It's like the art's, it's like not bad, but like
Yeah.
there's nothing really incredible about it. And then um, it wasn't Superman. It was actually Super Sons. Like I can remember this vividly when the first issue came out, and I was reading through it, and I was like, "Who is this guy? He's so good." It's like 2016 or 17, I think, and I'm like, Jorge Jimenez. Where have I seen that name before? And I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, this is the guy from Earth 2." I can't believe how much he's transformed in like 2 years.
Yeah, it's kind of
So
crazy
yeah,
how art styles evolve right before your eyes.
yeah, and honestly, like even going back to the Super Sun stuff, like it's still pretty good, but compared to the stuff he's doing now, it's like it's miles ahead.
Yeah, like I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff back in Super Sons.
Mm,
I remember just liking every aspect of that book.
yeah, that was a book
I
I
think,
never thought I would read all 16 issues of, but somehow I
yeah.
kept coming back every month.
I mean, it's
It's an
just
oddly comforting book.
it is. That's the thing. It's oddly comforting. It's like it's basically world's finest as Batman and Superman, but with boyish charm and childlike adventures.
Yeah,
Right? It's the last thing you'd expect to enjoy, but it's got the recipe for success.
yeah. I also wonder if because my pull list at that time was so low that I
Mhm.
could kind of
You had the
have a
stakes.
low stakes book like that I could follow pretty consistently without having
Yeah.
to worry about, oh, it's going to take the place of something else. Like, yeah, Super Sons came out this month. Checked it out. Cool. They are on an adventure with the Teen Titans and Robin's an old man. All right.
Yeah.
You don't really have to think too much about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like it's classic style comic adventures.
Yeah.
That's all it is, and it's a lot of fun, and it's
And
got, like I said,
very,
childlike
yeah.
charm.
Yeah. Very heartfelt. I think that was probably another reason why I was willing to stay with that series because, like, I don't know, you would have these really genuine. I mean, a lot of it was just bickering between Damien and John, which was fun. But
Yeah,
every now and
that's
then
the
you'd have
thing.
these really heartfelt moments, and you're like, "Damn, this really got to me." Like
Yeah,
it's like a two-part arc where Talia shows up to bring Damien home yet again. How many times has that happened? And it just I remember them having these moments where John kind of steps in, is like, "No, he's gonna stay here because he wants to be here," and it's like this
yeah,
it's really sweet. You actually see people becoming more and more of friends over the course of time. Something that I feel like should be more prominent in comics, but
yeah. Like yeah, you literally see them grow from two boys being forced to hang out because their dads are best friends
mm,
to eventually they're hanging out alone. They're older, they're wiser, and they are best friends.
yeah,
Right? And there's nothing they wouldn't do for each other. It's one of my favorite bits of recent character development in
agreed.
comics. Yeah.
Shame we only got a year of it, but no need
Yeah.
to rehash that again.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, even how it is today, I might, as weird as it is, I might even prefer how it is now because we can get the aged up John connecting with an older Damien who's in his early to mid teens
Mm,
and is going through his own lifestyle changes, his personal changes, and growing up
yeah,
before our very eyes. And you have John who's done the exact same thing, and now they're just there to help each other out go through adolescence, and it's fan fucking tastic.
I agree, but each time I think about that, there's always that bittersweet aspect that the way that we got there was
Yeah.
not the organic way that I think all of us would have preferred because you think of all that was left on the table
Oh god, yeah.
of seeing them grow to that point, like Damien and John both kind of going through their teen years together, and
Yeah.
then eventually getting to the stage where they are now, where John has accepted the role of Superboy slash Superman, and Damien is going through his own arcs, finally looking at his role as a hero in a more mature and nuanced way, and like I agree. I like the point where we are now, where they can connect with each other and and kind of look at things in a more informed, more adult way. But God, the path to get there was rough, man.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying too. Like we missed out on that. Yeah, that growing connection of even John going through that whole puberty side and that whole growing awkwardly through his teen years. And one of
Yeah.
my favorite aspects of that time when he was a kid and him and Damien growing up together was John wanting to be on the Teen Titans.
Yeah.
And that was like a goal for him. And Damien was like, "No, you're too young. You're a kid. Like,
That was
bitch,
like a
you're
whole
12."
that was like a whole arc, I think. I can't remember what that was
Yeah,
called.
I don't remember
Super
either, but
Sons
like,
of Tomorrow, something like
well,
that.
there was that, and it was also loosely tied into the Teen Titans run that had Damien running
Yes,
the
that's
team,
right.
right?
Yeah.
But there was that whole thing, and like they could have ran with that a lot more.
Yeah.
Even if Damien wasn't on the Titans, that still could have been like a goal for young John. Like I want
Yeah.
to be a good enough hero that I can be invited onto the Teen Titans. And I may only be 11 years old, but I'm
And
going to work my
imagine.
hardest so when I am eligible, I'm
Mhm.
like a shoe in for the Titans and I can
Which,
be right there.
well, okay. First off, I'm gonna call bullshit because there were plenty of people that were on the Teen Titans that were not teenagers, and they were still Titans. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck kind of timing they were on with that one. Like, I'm pretty sure
I mean,
Danny Chase was not a teen. He might have been 13, but barely.
that was just Damien though. He was gloating
Yeah.
because I think he had turned 13 and he was like, "I'm a teenager now, so I'm gonna run the Teen Titans." And John was
Mm.
like, well, "I want to be on the Teen Titans." And he's like, "No, you're 10. Shut up.
Yeah.
You're not allowed." Like that's just Damien being that kind of bully older
Actually,
brother
wait.
kind of deal.
That's the funny thing. It wouldn't have really made sense during Rebirth because the continuity stuff was all kind of fucked.
Yeah.
But Damien was on the Teen Titans for a brief little bit before Flashpoint, before he was 10. I think
Yeah.
he might have just been 10. So he could have hit him. Yeah, it wouldn't have made sense because that wouldn't have been a continuity. But had that story come out now, it would have been like, that's a load of crap. You were on the Titans when you were 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun
Yeah,
stuff.
but yeah, it's unfortunate. The way that it happened was unfortunate, but I do agree that the the position that both of them are in now has led to some really stellar storytelling.
Yeah. I got a question.
What up?
How the hell did we get here?
I don't know. This always happens.
It does. I'm just thinking, like, okay, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna say I really should read some Earth Two Worlds End just to look at the Hitman as our known thing. Wait, why were we talking about the Super Sons?
Why are we talking about this?
We love
Um,
rehashing old topics.
yes, Jorge Jimenez art book. That's where we started.
Yes. Yeah, look forward to that coming soon. I imagine. I can't wait to see Dan Moore art book because I would buy that up in a heartbeat.
Oh hell yeah!
That'd be so fucking
Yes,
good.
yes, please.
His art is probably my favorite current art. As is like
I
a
would
lot
not
of
be
people's
surprised
favorite
if we
current
got a Dan Moore art book in the next couple of years because
art. Oh
he's
yeah.
done so much high profile work at DC in the last like 2-3 years alone that it would be shocking. Not even just covers, like full interior work. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Okay. Great. Sorry.
Now
a
we're
little
gonna
distracted.
talk about Marvel.
I got a text from my wife about how my son has peed all over things again
Oh boy.
during changing. That happened to me yesterday. Changing his diaper, I got distracted for a couple of seconds too long. Heard a weird noise. Trying to figure out what the hell it is. Looked down and oh, there he goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, just happened to my wife too. I heard stories about these things happening, but like, yeah, it's not gonna
Never
happen.
thought it would happen to you.
Anywho, we'll start off with our lightning round reviews of last week's book, starting off with Poison
Yes.
Ivy number 31. That one was written by G. Willow Wilson with art for Brian Level, colors from Aref Prianto, and letters from Hasanas Manuel with the cover from Jessica Fong. So, brief rundown. Poison Ivy is exploring the town a little bit more, trying to figure out what the hell happened and getting down to brass tacks about what the mystery was. Meets up with Peter Undine. If you remember him, he was the guy with the flower face who kind of fucked around back in like the second arc or something like that. Uh, and using his abilities along with Ivy's abilities, they're able to discern what happened to Marshview and find that the town was built on the marshland, but the green did not like it, and it kept flooding the town and poisoning the town. No matter what the townspeople did to try and prevent it, the flood kept coming back. People kept dying, except for one man who just never got sick, and he ended up being like a caretaker and basically buried the whole town. Never left because he'd sunk his whole life savings into it. Um, and then Ivy and Undyne come out of their little trance and then get attacked by this giant grayish blob of a beast with many faces, and they find out that it is Mr. Ed Cooper, who was the caretaker of the town that buried all the bodies. He's still alive, and he is the thing that has been stalking everybody, including Janet, throughout their time in Marshview. Um, that's where the issue ends. It was hella creepy. It was a hell of an issue.
Yeah,
um,
seriously.
yeah, I really liked it. I'd say let's not score for the lightning round. We'll just like
Yeah, you can just fly through.
give a review for the issue. Art, as always, fantastic. The story has been progressing quite well for this arc. This whole thing with Marshview has been a very interesting horror take, and I can't wait to see how it ends up. I think like really we've got to the bulk of the horror in this arc,
Mm.
um, and then is what issue 31. So issue 32 will probably be the last issue of this arc, and then we'll get into the next arc.
Mm.
I think if I'm doing my math right.
I think so. Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. But it's just yeah, that's fucking crazy. It's capitalism and construction over plant life. It's the classic poison ivy story, but it's got deeper machinations and horror aspects to it that I'm really enjoying from this arc.
Mm.
So this just a banger of an issue yet again.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Fair enough. um, any other words to go with that, or
Um, not much. To be honest, I feel like I kind of like dissociated while reading that one, so I got to go back and reread that one because I like kind of forgot like everything that had happened.
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Just flew
Uh,
by.
Our next issue is Birds of Prey number 19. That one was written by Kelly Thompson with art from Juan Cabal. It's a weird spelling of. Is that even Juan? It's Juann.
Mm. Yeah, I mean that's that was who was doing the art on Al Ewing's Guardians for a while.
Oh, was
First
it?
12 issues, the only good issues.
The old. Wow. The
Yeah.
first 12 issues, only good issues. You, sir, can go fuck yourself. All right.
You first.
I do it all the time.
Jesus.
Every time I wake up and I start the day, I'm like, well, I just got to fuck myself by starting my day. I don't care what anybody says. The Last Annihilation was a fun story, and anyone who disagrees.
Most people would agree with you. I think I'm in the minority on this one.
Fair enough.
Mhm.
I don't know. Doctor Doom on the Guardians was dope as hell. I don't fucking care. Hulkling and Wiccan on the Guardians, awesome.
I like the idea.
Yeah,
I wish I could say I love the execution.
fair enough. Not like you said, it's okay to be wrong sometimes. Yeah, this one had colors from Adriana Lucas and letters from Clayton Cowles, with the cover from Dan Panosian. So this is tying up our loose ends from the last issue. Black Canary and Sin are getting attacked by ninjas at a lake house, a nice house on the lake, if you will, as well as Barda and Small Bat, or Cassandra Cain, are in the Seam, along with a demon-possessed John Constantine, getting attacked by some golems. They beat the shit out of the golems. They get Constantine's demon to their destination. The demon gets put away. Constantine gets out, and everything is good there. The ninjas are fighting Sin and Black Canary. Black Canary gets stabbed. Sin decides, all right, game's over. Pulls out the goddess that's in. I can't remember the goddess's name.
Mhm.
her power set just beats the shit out of all those guys all at once with these giant green tentacles,
Oh,
and then scares them
Megara, right?
off. Yeah, Megara scares all them off. They run away super fast, and everything's good there. Um, but then at the end, the pair, sitting on the lake drinking some hot cocoa, start to wonder if the ninjas were actually after her or if they just wanted to see what was up with Megara. Because now that they know the power that's in Megara, they seem
Yeah.
kind of satisfied with their mission. So the ninjas are, who frickin' knows? Right? The shit's gonna happen. Next issue's called On the Run. Um, so we'll have to see what happens there. It's a nice little issue, I think. The art was quite good. This was what I'd expect from an Al Ewing Guardians of the Galaxy book. An amazing artist. So, a lot of plot threads. It just felt very simple. It was only a 2-issue arc, so the 2 plot threads we had going on kind of felt like they finished quickly, which I don't know. It was 2 issues. I don't know what else you'd expect.
Yeah.
I guess I was just expecting a bit more out of the story that we had here, but I'm not against it. I like it so far. Yeah. What about you?
That's weird. Hang on.
Yeah, I was hearing that echo too.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I didn't hear it before, just like the past minute. I don't know. Yeah, do you have any thoughts on Birds of Prey?
Wait, hang on. My headphones cut out for a second. I can't really hear you.
Fair enough.
Oh wait, here we go. Okay. Birds of Prey. All I have to say is Barda is awesome.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
What else
That's
is new,
fair.
right?
that's very fair. What else do you need to say, really?
Yeah.
All right, our next book is JSA number 5, Ragnarok Part 5. This was written by Jeff Lemire with art from Diego Olortegui, colors from Luis Guerrero, letters from Steve Wands, and cover from Cully Hamner. A little more complicated because there's a lot of players going on, but try to sum up as best we can. Hawkman gets freed by Kid Eternity. They meet up with Hawkgirl. They try to escape back to the Tower of Fates. Dr. Midnight is able to escape using her night vision ability, take out Scandal, and free Obsidian, and they escape. Obsidian, meanwhile, is at the JSA Brownstone, oddly enough, with what is pseudo being called Infinity Inc., with our man Jesse Quick and Wildcat. The new Wildcat. Yolanda
Yes.
Wildcat.
Montez.
Montez, yeah. And they decide they need to go, like, do what they can to save the rest of the team. Jade and Sandy kind of have a moment, and they go to meet up with everybody else, and they find Our Man alone, who said that the others just went off to go do their thing, but he didn't feel right about it because it wasn't what the JSA stands for. Scandal finds the rest of the Injustice Society, or is that what they call themselves? The Injustice Society?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have a bit of infighting. And then the demons are marching on the Tower of Fates, which leaves just Dr. Fate, Flash, Green Lantern, and the original Wildcat left to defend it. A lot of the OGs, and they have their work cut out for them. But quite honestly, I think the OGs can do it. Yeah, so that's that. Really good art throughout. I'm having a bit of trouble following the jumping with all the characters. I get it's a huge roster, so there's a lot of ground to cover, but having them all split up so much, just making it really hard to keep track of what's going on. You had Obsidian in 3 different parts of the story here, and it was all different versions of Obsidian. I get that's part of like an ongoing mystery, but I'm very fucking confused.
Well,
I
I
don't know what
think
to
I
say. I'm
can.
confused.
I think I can kind of understand where each one is. One is obviously the Shadow Thief pretending to be Obsidian. One is the Obsidian that has been rescued by Beth Chapel, and the other is just like trapped in his own mind.
Yeah,
With Jakeem Thunder somehow, I'm assuming they're in some kind of shared dream or something like that
yeah.
that's
Shared
keeping them
limbo
from returning
space.
to consciousness.
Yeah, it was a
Mm,
weird little thing.
yeah.
I either I forgot or I never really clued in that Shadow Thief was taking on Obsidian's form.
Yeah, that
I was
was
trying to like which one is the real one.
that must have been in like issue 3 or something after Beth Chapel Doc Midnight was kidnapped, because that was when it was like, oh wait, what the fuck is infecting Jakeem? Could that be Obsidian? But that doesn't make sense. How could it? And then she gets kidnapped.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, then, apart from that, like I'm still really enjoying the run, but I just can't wait to see the team back together and to see
Yeah.
the JSA doing JSA stuff,
Mhm.
right? Instead of like being almost decimated by the Injustice Society. um, brilliant like opening arc. Just for me, it's a little hard to follow.
Yeah.
Uh,
Understood. Yeah, things are coming to a head. I appreciate it, especially that it seems like all the kind of well-made plans that the Injustice Society had cooked up are slowly coming apart, and that's starting to fracture them. So they're getting desperate. So they're like, "All right, fuck it, we're going after the Tower of Fate,
yeah,
and we're gonna bring it down." And it feels like now we're starting to reach that climax where everyone's gonna come back together. People are going to be more sympathetic, like, "Oh, we were deceived by Johnny Sorrow," and they'll be able to come together as one unified JSA front and head off the Injustice Society. So pretty ambitious for a first arc, I have to say. Um, my hope is that the next arc is a little bit more mellow, smaller, something that is more character focused, so we can kind of breathe. Because it feels like the last few years of JSA has all been about the big, crazy, epic storylines, which is good. Trying to bring them back to that really prominent spot, but I would appreciate something that was a little more low key and let the characters kind of do character building stuff.
yeah, yeah. I'm just. I think I'm really excited to see what Lemire has planned going forward because he has built such a big roster for the society.
Yeah.
Um, how he plans on handling all the characters. Because anytime you have an expanded Justice League roster, you don't like each story arc doesn't necessarily always have the whole team.
No.
It's usually bits and groups of it. But JSA has always prided itself on being like a full team book, right? You
Yeah.
very rarely get an arc where there's only two members of the team doing an adventure. It's usually the whole fucking team, right? You
Yeah. I
might have
mean,
a couple
it'll
characters as a focus, but the whole team is there doing stuff, and like that's
there
a
there will
lot to
be
juggle.
yeah there will be arcs that break the team into smaller chunks. So I'm thinking of, like, obviously the the Lightning Saga, but yeah, even the first arc where they're fighting Mordru, it's like three separate units that all
Yeah,
converge in the fifth issue, which I think is probably the only way you can handle an expanded roster like that, is you kind of have them doing their own separate thing. But yeah, no, I agree that whatever arc comes next, I think that it will, yeah, probably have a smaller team, but it will still have a decent team at least. So
shit. When you said first arc where they fought Mordru, I'm just like, when
that's
was
all
that?
the way
Like
back in
that was.
'99. That's
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, no, no,
Okay. I was gonna. Was that like the recent Jeff Johns rip? And that was per Degaton. I'm like, wait, what
no,
book was that? I
yeah.
had to remember that that was like an entirely different run.
That's like the beginning of JSA '99. That is the beginning of JSA '99,
Yeah.
and that one I point to specifically because that was, at least from my memory, like the first time, with the exception of maybe All Star Squadron, but that doesn't really count as JSA. But that was really the first time I can think of where it's like, okay, now we have a fucking big ass JSA roster, because they had all these legacy characters that were
inheriting the mantles of older Golden Age heroes at the time. So you had
Mm.
Stargirl, you had Starman, you had the new uh, Sylvester. What is his name?
Oh, well, not Sylvester Wilkerson.
Sandy Sand.
Yeah, Sandy.
I couldn't even remember
Yeah.
his real name for a second. So all these people. I mean, Sand had been around for a while, obviously, but was now taking on the role of Sandman proper. So like when you read that first issue, when they're at the grave of Wesley Dodds, or at the funeral of Wesley Dodds, it's like 15 people there. It's like a million people on that team, and that's why they kind of had to split them into different chunks for that first arc, because it was just such a large cast. So
Yeah.
I agree with what you were saying.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see how Lemire's gonna pull it off.
Definitely.
But because like I was saying, so far with this first story arc, it's getting a little confusing. But I guess that's because there's so many moving parts at the same time.
Mm.
Uh, I hope with the next few story arcs is a little more streamlined. I hope, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, our next book is Shazam number 21, which is the last issue of this Shazam run. Damn shame if you ask me. This was written by Josie Campbell with pencils from Dan McDade, inks from Roberto Poggi, colors from Trish Mulvihill, letters from Troy Patiri, and main cover from Gleb Melnikov, which is a very um, cool send off, just like a
Mm.
bust image of Captain Marvel. Sorry, the Captain.
The
With the
captain.
text, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." This picks up where we left off 2 issues ago, because last issue was a brief adventure with John Kent. We get back to the whole plot with Mr. Mind, um, and it is as confusing as you'd imagine. I think just I don't even know how to sum up. They fight Mr. Mind. They're all kind of fucked up, but they all come back together somehow. Billy, Mary, and Freddy all get to Shazam up together, and you get to see the original three Shazam Lee just working together to take down Mr. Mind and his new Society of Monsters, if you even want to call it that. It's really just Mr. Mind taking over everybody's mind. Frees everybody. Georgia Savannah is kind of on the side of the Angels a little bit, and that's what I was confused about. Is she with Mr. Mind or against Mr. Mind, or is she just under Mr. Mind's control? It's hard to tell, but
Mm.
like when we last saw her, I'm pretty sure she was against Mr. Mind at the end, but I can't really fucking tell. Billy mans up, goes to talk to his mom, says, "Mom, I love you. I want to be in your life, but I have a family and I got to stick with them, and I hope we can all like, get along." And she understands. They share a hug, and then we get a final shot of the family all together with Freddie, Bailey, and Mary saying Shazam and flying off with their newfound abilities um, as a new Shazam Lee. And that's where it ends. And I'm just going to come right out and say it. A little bit of a disappointing ending for what I thought was a
Yeah.
very fun run.
I think I'm just more sad to see this book go. I mean, yeah, a bit of an abrupt ending. Would have
Yeah,
liked to have
that's
seen this whole Mr. Mind thing go for a little bit longer, but I don't know. I guess it is what it is, but yeah, I think I'm more just sad to see that this book is coming to an end because it felt
yeah,
like it. You know, Josie Campbell had covered the book after Mark Waid and was kind of doing her own thing, and it felt like the book had a real charm to it and had really come into its own, and now it's just over, and it kind of
yeah.
sucks.
And like she, through her own like off titles, had given Mary her powers back with a different
Yeah,
pantheon, and then she did the same thing with Freddy in this with his own pantheon,
yeah,
um, and brought them back to prominence without interrupting what's going on with the captain, right? Which I thought was
mm-hmm.
brilliant, and it made it all work. And it really begged the question, like, will Eugene, Pedro, and I can't remember her name now, the little sister, will they all get powers back as well, or are they just going to
Mm.
keep it? These like that's been questions on my mind, but like, no, they find other ways to help, which is cool.
Mm.
And it's just Freddy just got his power back,
Yeah,
and he had like 3 issues to use it. It's kind of a damn shame. And I almost feel like it would have been better if this issue had been issue 20, and then the issue with John was the final issue, issue 21. So he didn't have that break, that abrupt break right in the middle of the Mr. Mind arc, where he practically takes over the planet,
Mm.
and then you get to finish that arc and it feels complete, and the last issue is that kind of like, here's that kind of almost heartfelt family-ish issue where
Yeah.
you see Billy um, teaching another kid how to come to terms with being a hero and being a kid at the same time, and like Billy and John basically having a moment of how to balance being a child and being a superhero, and like learning off each other at the same time. That would have been I think a brilliant capper to Josie Campbell's run, but it didn't work out that way.
It also would not have been written by Josie Campbell, which I
Was it
find
not?
kind of funny. No,
Wait, who
that
wrote
was
that
a
one?
guest issue because I think I forget why she took the break for that month. I'm sure there's some reason for it, but yeah, I remember they had said that was like that was a special guest issue, and then the Mr. Mind arc was going to come to a conclusion
Right.
with issue 21.
Guess I
I
must
know
have
that was
forgotten.
Cine Grace, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Yeah. It's weird. It's
Yeah,
just
but I agree. No, like
yeah,
I think tonally that would have been a great way to just bring it to a close. Like
yeah,
after everything that Billy has been through, I guess maybe a little weird to have John be the catalyst for that. Because I remember when we talked about that issue, like it really did just kind of feel like a Super Son issue,
yeah,
um, featuring Shazam. So maybe if you were to emphasize Billy's role in an issue like that, it would have worked better. But yeah, I think tonally that would have been a nice way to close off the series. I
yeah.
like the closure that he had with his mom. I do, even though I still don't love that kind of retcon to his whole family life. But let's not go there. But I like that
Yeah.
they were able to at least put some closure on that in a nice way, not just like fuck my mom, I hate her. But I don't know
Yeah.
this something about it does feel a little bittersweet, and I think it's just because it feels like maybe the series ended a little prematurely.
Hmm. Yeah, it's. I just think it's a damn shame, but
Mm,
who knows? I thought
yeah,
maybe we'd finally have like a solid Shazam run to look back on fondly, that everybody would eventually find a way to enjoy, or find a
yeah,
part they would enjoy about it. Just got cut off. I don't know.
yeah. I mean,
Maybe, maybe one
it
day.
is like I can definitely I'll definitely be able to look back on that arc, or at least the first 5 or 6 or so issues, and be like, yeah, that was fun. But I'll
Yeah.
always be thinking about the unfulfilled potential.
Exactly. Exactly. Which is it's a damn shame. There was so
Yeah,
much potential in that run. I think if they just gave it a little bit longer, give it to like issue 25, they might have been able to get that potential going and
yeah.
garner more interest. But I
Even
guess
if the series had come to an end at 25, I feel like maybe it might have had a more full ending than what we got. But I don't know. Who could say?
yeah, I just miss having an ongoing Shazam book. You know, I
I
really
know.
do.
Oh,
It's been a long time since we've had like a long running Shazam title.
yeah, not since 1999, I
Yeah, at
think.
least.
Not since the power of Shazam, and
Yeah.
uh,
I mean,
yeah,
anything in
1999.
the early 2000s, the first decade, just didn't last long.
I mean, honestly, I think that was just that book is like a miracle. Call me crazy, but I
Yeah.
like the fact that that book ran for 70 something issues is like it really a shocking event of that era.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 1995 to 1999, according
Right.
to Wikipedia,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah. The 90s were a strange time,
Yeah,
but clearly something worked.
I guess so. I guess
Yeah.
so.
All right. Our next book is Justice League: The Atom Project #3. This one was written by Ryan Perot and John Ridley, with art and cover from Mike Perkins, colors from Adriana Lucas, and letters from Wes Abbott. Simply put, we pick up on Captain Atom is in the laboratory where I think it was he got his powers. Talking to one of the scientists that gave him his powers, and his whole reason for being there is to get his powers taken away. He doesn't want this burden. He doesn't want anybody to go after this power. He thinks it's a danger on the planet, and as long as he has it, he will forever be hunted, and there will ever be a chance for people to take it for nefarious reasons. However, as he is being experimented on to get the power taken away, the experiment goes wrong as the two atoms grow to normal size because they sabotaged it, were listening the whole time, and tried to stop him from losing the power because they need him to keep it because he is the catalyst, he's the key to bringing the powers back to where they initially were. They have a whole big verbal back and forth between them. Nathaniel begins to take the fight directly to Ray Palmer's neck. Uh, Ryan gets in the way, but before they can solve all of that verbally, in comes Major Force at the request of the U.S. Army. Not just anybody in the U.S. Army, but it was General Ailing.
Yes.
Ailing, however you pronounce
General
it.
Eiling.
Yeah, the guy that was basically running the army liaison for Nathaniel Adam.
Hmm. And if I'm not mistaken, is like the guy who's responsible for the original Captain Atom experiments.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, he was like directly.
Haven't-
He was the general that basically headed the whole operation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't read that Captain Atom series from the 80s
Yeah.
since high school, so I can't remember, but I remember him being involved in some capacity, so.
Yeah. Well, he's back again, and is doing whatever he can to get Nathaniel Adam back on the U.S. government side. Now you get Major Force and Captain Atom fighting off, and all I'm getting is flashbacks of our world at war.
Oh, God.
And every time I see them on a panel together, I just think, oh, it's actually kind of funny how alike their powers are.
Yeah.
Then I think about that time Kyle Rayner cut Major Force's head off instead of flying into space.
And left it in a bubble. That was the final issue of Green Lantern. Imagine
Yeah.
that being the last issue of Green Lantern you ever read.
Exactly. And it
And-
begs the question, how the fuck is he still alive?
Man, that's the $1,000,000 question.
How the hell did that happen? I must have missed that issue of Secret Six or whatever.
Well, the funny thing is, and actually, I might be wrong with my timing here, but I remember Major Force showing up in that first arc of Batman Superman, and I don't know if that was published before or after the last issue of Green Lantern.
But that was called Our World at War, wasn't it?
No, that was that's like the first Jeff Loeb arc on Batman
Yeah.
Superman or Superman Batman.
That's the one I was talking about.
Public
The-
Enemies, that's it.
Public Enemy.
And
that had Captain Atom on the team as well. that was
Exactly,
hunting them.
yeah.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I was as you were saying that, I was trying to think of like, because that last issue of Green Lantern, I want to say was 2004, might have been 2003.
that's the thing, I couldn't remember.
But
Yeah.
that Superman Batman run, I couldn't fucking tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know when that started.
Okay. According to Wikipedia, it looks like that arc was just before that issue of Green Lantern, which makes sense because
Yeah, okay.
yeah, that one was 2003. That Superman Batman arc. Green Lantern 180 came out 2004, and then obviously a couple months later, Green Lantern Rebirth.
Yeah. So, Major Force was on a hit squad to take down Superman and Batman, and then after he got his ass whooped, he's like, I'm gonna go fuck with Kyle Rayner.
You know what? You know what I should do? I should go after that
Let's stop
Green
in New
Lantern
York.
prick. I mean, I killed his girlfriend once, but you know, why not try and go after his mom or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, I'm in Washington, D.C. right now. It's like a hop, skip, and a jump to New York City.
Yeah. Why not really fuck with him, you know?
Yeah.
While he's like homeless right now.
Right. Yeah, I love kicking a man when he's down. It's the only thing that brings me joy. Yeah, that was a funny time for continuity.
Seriously.
Yeah, especially when you think about the next time they had like major continuity connections was probably Identity Crisis.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think would have been around the same time. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. Because that was, I want to say that was 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2004, 2005, something like that.
yeah, which, yeah, like literally right after.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked. Oh,
That always
speaking.
makes me laugh. I'm just like the imagine that being the last issue you ever read of Kyle Rayner, and it's just like, oh, I beat the shit out of Major Force. I cut off his head and flew off into space.
Yep.
Or well, I guess I was already in space, but I flew off into the galaxy,
Yeah.
never to be seen again.
For
Like, what
three
a beautiful
months.
send off for this Green Lantern you've come to know and love.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a hell of an ending. It really was. Yeah,
uh,
if Green Lantern literally just ended there and never came back, you're just what the fuck happened to
I was
that
like,
character
what?
20 years
Oh,
ago?
oh, okay,
Yeah,
all
all
right.
right, all right. Okay, bye. Have fun, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll just clean up Major Force's torso.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll just sit here on this asteroid and I'll just go off into space and I don't know, find God or something.
God, I am God, says Kyle
I, yeah,
Rayner.
I was God.
Remember when I was
Practically.
Ion? Now I'm
When I
only
was
Leia.
Ion, I practically was God.
Yeah. All right. So, bit of a weird transition I made a minute ago. Our last issue for Lightning Round from last week is Secret Six #1. I forgot to actually go to the credits page. Yeah, this is written by Nicole
Oh,
Maines
man.
with art from Steven Scovia, colors from Rain Burrito, letters from Steve Wands, cover from Steven Scovia and Rain Burrito. Before we get into that, I just clued into my head. I don't think we actually talked about the Atom Project.
Oh, yeah. I
We
guess
just
we
spent the
should.
last couple of minutes talking about
But
last
yeah,
time we saw
fucking
Major
Major
Force and
Force
Green
and Green
Lantern.
Lantern. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting issue. This this whole book might be lower down on my list of all the Justice League satellite connected books is what I'll call them for now.
Mhm.
um, but it's very enjoyable, and I think it's a very big pivot point for tying up all the loose ends from Absolute Power.
Yeah.
So I'm almost reluctantly reading this book, even though I'm just like, it's been 3 issues of the Atoms chasing down Captain Atom, and that's all that's happening.
Mm.
Yeah, like we get some backstory as to why it's happened, but it's basically all it is it's the three of them either chasing each other or going on vacation together. It's I don't know. I'm just not
Yeah.
sold on this book, and I'm kind of just reading it to see how it ends.
Yeah, I hear that. I definitely felt like I was getting into it in the previous issue, and this one was still solid, but I don't know. I maybe I felt like I lost the momentum a little bit, or wasn't as into it this month. It's hard to say, but I'm kind of just wondering what the whole Atom project is going to evolve into, or just see what happens next. Because I'm kind of I'm also wondering like where the hell this book is going to go. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's well, yeah. It's one of the limited series. I think this one is a 6 issue series, so
Yeah,
we're only about halfway there. I'm very curious to see where it's going to go because what's going to be the purpose of this one, right?
yeah.
We'll have to see. All right, so with that, we'll jump into Secret Six now. Major return of a team that we haven't seen in a long time. Some characters you'd recognize, some you wouldn't. But that who you recognize, who you don't, really depends on your history with the Secret Six. is is basically what it is. All right, so we have John Kent stopping that half cyborg Bizarro, who was on the Task Force X team, I guess, that Dreamer was heading
Hmm.
up. Dreamer, meanwhile, is also having dreams about her getting like surgery and being attacked by people she loves. She goes to meet up with John Kent and reveals that Amanda Waller has gone missing. She was able to discern that through her dreams. At the same time, um, fucking God, I can never remember his name. His boyfriend,
Oh, Jay.
Jay Nakamura, thank you, has been spying on Amanda Waller in her jail cell, making sure she stays there because he is obsessed, and for good reason. I think it's perfectly understandable to be obsessed. After all, she killed his mother and upended his country. Um, but yeah, I think personally his anger is also misplaced towards Dreamer, who may have been on Amanda Waller's side, but kind of forcefully and reluctantly. So hating Dreamer personally, I think is a little much, but let's go with it for now. So Dreamer shows up on the boy's doorstep and says Waller's missing. So the trio head out to the prison that Waller was in, um, does whatever they can to get in, and end up having to sneak in and end up finding Lori Zeklin, aka Black Alice. They free her because she's the only one that's got the info they need right now, and she refuses to give it at the time. Um, but they release her, and then they get stopped by a bunch of guards who begin shooting at them. Dreamer is able to dream. Oh no, it's not Dreamer. I guess Black Alice is able to teleport them out of prison, and they land far away in a dilapidated secret house in Vermont, where they find Deadshot and Catman. Uh, Literally seconds after Deadshot shot Catman. Surprise!
Whoa.
And there's your new Secret Six. Got
Yeah.
Deadshot, Black Alice, Catman, Superman, Dreamer, and Gossamer, aka Jay Nakamura.
And was oh, God damn, I can't even remember. Was no, Deadshot was on the secret.
Yeah,
Oh
he
God,
was
I
on.
think so, right?
He
On
was
the
on
Gail
one of the
Simone Secret
iterations.
Six.
Yeah, he was on one
Yeah.
of the iterations of Secret Six alongside Catman, and I imagine that's why he's shooting Catman here.
Yeah,
Because they have
yeah.
bad blood. I mean, quite honestly, Catman's body and looks, I think any man wants to shoot Catman.
Jesus Christ. Keep it in your pants, sir.
I'm not saying anything about pants. I'm just saying he's a hot guy, and all the ladies love him, and every man should be jealous. It's like you with
Do-
Jorge and Meadows.
Do all the ladies love him?
Well, secretly, I don't know.
Probably.
Secretly 6 times. I have no fucking
Yes.
clue. Yeah, no, it's a very interesting lineup for the Secret Six. I don't. Has Black Alice
Yeah.
ever been on the Secret Six?
Not that I know of.
I didn't think
Pretty
so.
much the only teams that she was on prior to the was it that Suicide Squad task force thing, um, was just Birds of Prey. Josh would probably know better than I do, but yeah, pretty much only knew her as being a part of Birds of Prey.
Well, I don't know. I think it's a very interesting lineup.
Mhm.
Let alone having Dreamer, John Kent, and Jay Nakamura alone
Yes.
on the Secret Six is very cool. Alongside Catman and Deadshot. It's
Yeah.
just anytime Catman is in a book, I'm just like, all right, I gotta read this. I don't
Yeah,
know,
gotta
something
check
about
it out.
Catman I just like.
He's just cool, man.
Yeah, he's fucking. That's what I mean. He's cool.
He had that Mr. Freeze glow up, I guess, and that he looked like a total dweeb in the Silver Age, and
Yeah,
they kind of revived him in the
Yeah.
aughts, and now he's kind of awesome.
yeah. He just worked out a bit. Got a cool ass scar on his chest. And
Yeah.
now all the ladies want him.
And I will say,
All the guys hate him.
for as much as I have not been big on Jay as a character, this is probably the coolest I've ever seen him look anywhere.
Yeah, I gotta say his costume's kind of cool. I agree. I'm not really big on Jay, and I'm even less big on Jay right now because, like I said,
Mm.
I think this whole arc that got going on with him hating Dreamer for
Yeah.
being complacent with his mother's death. I think that's undeserved. I think that's way out of left field, and it's just unnecessary anger towards a character that I think doesn't deserve it.
Mhm.
Because as John has pointed out many times, and as we all fucking know, it wasn't Dreamer's choice to do any of that. She was being held against her will. Her family was like in grave danger and being threatened to murder. So of course she has to go along with what's going on. And she was in the room when Jay's mother was killed, but she had nothing to do with her being thrown out the fucking
Yeah.
window. Right? That's the thing. Um, in fact, I think she was in the office at the time trying to stop Waller. So if I remember right. So
Yeah.
it's just like the whole thing with Jay and Dreamer, I think, is completely unnecessary. Um, but at the end of the day, when it comes to Super Son's boyfriends, or not Super, I guess Super Son's boyfriends, I like Jay more than Bernard.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
At least he's got something going for him.
Yeah.
Bernard is just there. You know,
He
Jay,
just
I
sits around.
like there was stuff about him that I liked. I liked his connection to the what was they were they called the ex Suicide Squad members from
Oh,
Tom
yeah.
Taylor's run,
Yeah.
the Truth or something.
Yeah.
Like I dug that, and I dug the stuff that was around him. I just his character felt a little flat to me, but yeah, much more interesting than Bernard should have been left in the 2000s Dowd.
I like that he started out as like a junior reporter of sorts, and
Yeah.
his like hero was Lois Lane.
Yeah,
Like he's dating Superman, the son of the first Superman, and the guy the person he's like going gaga over is Lois Lane. It's like that's fucking cool. I like that. Um, yeah, I like that, and like his side stuff where he was in, I think he was in Steelworks
yes,
as
very
as like
briefly.
a tech guy. Yeah, like
Yeah,
that was cool.
working with John
But
Henry
this
Irons.
whole just like I'm a hate on the world because everyone sucks. Just, I don't
Yeah.
think we need that for this character. Yeah, he's been through the ringer. He's been through a lot, um, but it feels a little out of character for him at the same
Look,
time.
every character has to go through this, okay? Every character has their aggro period. Remember when Tim Drake was all bright-eyed and optimistic? Feels like a while ago. Even he had to go through his I hate everything, my
Yeah.
best friend is dead, my girlfriend is dead, my dad is dead emo phase, okay? It's a rite of
Well,
passage.
back in my day, when characters went through that, they had a black costume.
It's true. I'm sure it's coming.
It's fucking true.
I'm sure it's coming, okay?
So
He's gonna get his black
so
emo
you
costume.
couldn't tell when the character was going through emotional stuff, because they put on a black version of their costume, saying
Oh,
that
God.
his costume is as black as my soul is right now.
Yes.
that's
God.
what it was. That's what it
The
was.
world
when
is
I-
so
when we were
dark, and
growing
also
up.
my
That's-
costume is.
It was so much simpler. You didn't have to necessarily read the words on the page to understand what the character was doing. You could just look at what they were wearing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Jay. I think we're kind of on the same
Yeah.
page there. I really like the lineup. I really like the roster. Um, I wish the artists would get an idea of what the fuck John Kent's costume looks like. Is this a new costume for him, or is he wearing the jacket? Like, I don't even know anymore.
It's been going through so many different variations. It's hard to
Yeah.
keep track.
Like, I like how it is now. I just don't know if I like the idea of him being red and black and
Yeah.
yellow, right? Like, I know it just said black costume, but he's not going through an emo phase.
No.
Right? Like, yeah, everybody needs a black costume. This is John Kent's black costume, but it usually came with an emo phase. Even Clark had a mullet during his. Like, fuck.
Honestly, they should switch costumes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make more sense, but
If Clark had this costume, I don't know. I don't know about that.
well, I was saying if Jay and John could switch costumes. but-
Oh yeah. No, that that for at least the color scheme.
So
yeah.
he can have the bright ass costume, and Jay can sulk and wear black and gray.
Yeah. I hate the world. The only thing in my life is John Kent.
Look, it's like I said, it's a rite of passage. Someone has to die, and you get real sad about it for a while.
Yeah, that's the hero's plate in comics.
Yeah.
It's not like the downturn is always death of a family member.
It's true.
Yeah,
Shit, Damien just went through that with Alfred. Why do you
yeah.
think he started wearing gray?
He went through that with Alfred. He went through that with Raish. He went
Yeah.
through that with Bruce. He went through that with Talia. He went
Like,
through that with himself twice.
it's gonna happen, okay?
Yeah,
It's gonna happen.
he's got a black costume right now.
Yeah.
Like shit. I don't know. But yeah, no, that's like I hope I think Nicole Maines is the one that's writing Jay as this character that can't let go of a grudge for no
Mm.
reason, and which I find very interesting because is she's Dreamer, that she is
Yeah.
Dreamer. She's been the one that's spearheading Dreamer stories the past few years. Has written anything that's included Dreamer because she's the foremost authority on Nia Nal right now, and it's
Mm.
completely understandable. So I do find it interesting that she's made Jay Nakamura essentially her own personal antagonist,
Yeah.
right? Like that's one thing I don't like. I like Nicole Maines writing comic books. I really
Mhm.
liked her in Supergirl. She became one of my favorite actresses on that show. Um, One of my favorite parts of that show, and all the power to her.
Mm.
And especially that she's pivoted now to writing comics. That's just one aspect of it I don't like. I like
Yeah.
everything else that Nicole Maines is doing with comics. I think she's doing a really good job leaping from the screen to the page like this. I just don't like what she's doing with Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all in all, Secret Six looks like it's going to be a fun series. At least I fucking hope so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just kind of interested to see where it goes. But yeah, I do agree. Even though I was making jokes about it being a rite of passage, that doesn't mean that I necessarily enjoy character arcs where someone who is normally more laid back or upbeat has that I hate everything aggro phase. So I'm just at this point I'm just waiting for them to work through this. Let's just get to the character beat where he forgives Dreamer and he's like, we're not gonna be friends, but I don't want to be angry at you more anymore. Like, let's get to that point and move on. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I will see where it goes. That was just issue one. Issue two coming out in a few weeks, so we'll see what happens. The team just got
Mm.
together, so I imagine there's going to be a lot of back and forth between the heroes and Deadshot,
Yeah.
especially Superman.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that ends our lightning round. I think we did that in about 40 minutes. We were making good time
Lightning
until we
my
got
ass.
through the last two books.
Yeah.
Right? I think we got through the first four books pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for a 6-book review, I think that's still a record for us.
Yeah. Surprisingly.
Under an
And
hour.
somehow we still made it longer.
Yeah.
That's why we need
somehow.
Josh here. He could fly through those, and we'll just kind of sit here
I
spewing our
blame
crap.
the Atom Project because we ended up spending 5 to 6 minutes talking about Major Force.
Yeah,
We can't help ourselves.
I know.
Tangents are part of our life.
I like. We get on tangents so frequently. Should be in the damn tangent universe.
Yeah.
Should be running around with a freaking Chinese lantern, calling myself a Green Lantern,
Yeah.
or a pink costume, calling myself the Flash.
Or like some giant blue cloak.
Yeah.
Call myself Superman. I don't understand that version of the character. I really don't.
I don't either. I think you'd have to talk to Dan Jurgens about that one.
I don't think Dan Jurgens understands that character. Yeah. I need to go back and read Tangent Superman, see if I can get it a bit better now. Now I'm older and wiser.
Ah. I may be older and wiser, but I still can't understand that.
Well, speaking of understanding stuff, it's time to get into our reviews for this week.
Yes.
Honorable mentions are DC versus Vampires World War B number 7 and Batman Dark Matters number 4, neither of which I am currently reading. Got any words on them, Brandon?
Nothing to say about DC versus Vampires. Waiting for that one to just come to an end so I can run through the whole thing. But
Right on.
Batman Dark Patterns continues to be one of the best Bat mystery books on shelves right now. And that is pretty high praise considering there's some good stuff. But no, seriously, Dan Waters and Hayden Sherman are just killing it. and are doing something. Like I knew it was coming because I had talked to him, and he's like, "We're." I'm not gonna do a British accent, but he was basically like, "We're gonna do four different three-part arcs for this 12-issue series." So they're all proper mysteries, but they're not building on each other. They're just separate mysteries that you can read and still get a sense of the character. Um, and this one is for anyone like I read this and I was like, oh, it's clear he's been reading his early '90s Alan Grant, Norm Brayfogle Detective Comics issues because this one is a love letter to Scarface, a character who seems like very much a gimmick, but for people who've actually read some of his stories, there's always some meat there to sink your teeth into, and it's probably one of the more creative takes on Scarface, aside from Paul Dini's take on Scarface that I've ever seen. So definitely check this one out, if only for the art, because it continues to blow my mind.
Right on. I need to give it another shot because I started reading the first issue, but like I don't know if I can take another Batman book right now.
Oh yeah, it is like you can just read the first three issues on your own and not read anything else, and that's a complete story, and it's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, I have been saying I need more things on my pull list because
Of
my pull list is
course,
empty.
yeah. I feel the same way. Mine is
Yeah.
pretty light, so whatever recommendations you can throw at me, just let me know.
That's
I'll
great.
add them on.
I have these 7 other books you should tack onto your pull list.
Oh,
Because
dude, great.
there's nothing on there,
Yeah.
right? You just want to kill your mind, don't you?
I really do. I think I really do. And not even just with comics. Like I'm still trying to finish the last. What the fuck is it? 17 volumes of Bleach.
Oh God.
So it's
That's
just it's become insane.
that's the great thing about manga. You can finish a volume in like an hour if you
Yeah.
get into it enough, right?
But it still is like I mean you really have to. There's still some stuff you have to sit and think about. And it's
Yeah.
like wait when did that happen? Did I read that part? So I'm like I'll read through them pretty fast, but I have to go over them again just to make sure I didn't forget anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, I'll check that out. And like I said, anything else you want to recommend, I'll definitely check it out. I have nothing but time.
Well, Josh is currently listening in on our little podcast. I'm sure he has tons of things to
Oh yeah,
recommend to
dude,
you.
send them to
add
me,
to
Josh.
your
I'm sure you will.
inexplicably empty pull list.
Yeah,
Josh,
whatever
sorry.
books you got, just let me know, man.
Yeah. Sorry, Josh. I did see your messages on the chat there. Just I had Discord open and I was trying to focusing on getting the lightning round done, so I did not get a chance to reply to them. Josh does say JSA was dope, and I can't agree. Um, yes, woohoo, Wildcat. Would love to hear your thoughts on Secret Six, good sir.
Mhm.
Either feel free to text it in chat or just let us know after the show. But with that, let's get into our main books. Absolute Superman is deferred. Brandon just muted himself. I hope that's a good
I'm
sign.
good.
Okay.
All good.
Yeah, because our first book is Batman and Robin,
Oh,
number 19, brought to us by Brandon.
yes.
Let me relax my voice for a little bit.
Oh boy, I'm gonna try and get through this without like completely shredding my voice and coughing up a lung. But this is Batman and Robin number 19, part 6 of Memento, the finale actually. As far as I can tell, well, not of the entire arc, but at least the first part. Written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art from Javier Fernandez, colors from Marcelo Maiolo, and letters from Steve Wands with yet another stunningly terrifying cover from Javier Fernandez. This issue sees the dynamic duo on the hunt for more information about Memento as Damien kind of fills in Bruce on some of the Gotham history. It is your job, Josh, but unfortunately, I have to take the mantle on today because you're not here to cough up along this week. But anyway, Damien filling in Bruce on some Gotham history related to the Memento killings to kind of figure out where the next one is going to strike. While Bruce is dealing with the visions and hallucinations that he's been suffering with in the previous two issues after being infected with the Gravedigger's poppy. As Bruce takes a call from Oracle, who fills him in on a possible connection that Dr. Bashar may have to Ra's al Ghul. A very loose one, I might add. Damien goes off and calls Dr. Lautrec to check in with her and make sure she's okay, as she is checking in on, I believe that's supposed to be Scarecrow, um, as she continues to investigate how he managed to come across the Gravedigger's poppy recipe, given that it was extinct, while he continues to spout cryptic stuff about who Memento might really be. And that's when Lautrec decides to check in with a friend at Scotland Yard, to exhume the body of one Professor Atticus Bly to make sure that he's really there and has not been revived as Memento. Excuse me. Back at the Brownstone, Bruce tries to have a little heart to heart with Damien, offering to take him out to dinner and, I don't know, spend some damn time with his son. Um, of course, under the guise that it will be good for them to burn off the calories during trading later, but it's clear that he really just wants to connect with Damien, given the rather difficult conversation that they had in the previous issue, with Damien saying that he was going to quit being Robin, after they solved the
He's a
Memento
hero, not a
case.
thief.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh man. But anyway, yeah, they decide to, or sorry, they don't decide to go out together because Damien has already made his meal for the night and is going to head to the hospital to meet up with Dr. Bashar. But Bruce is able to put a listening device on his son's shoe because it's not Batman without trust issues, to listen in on Damien's conversation with Dr. Bashar. And the good doctor decides to take him to a different floor today, to have him work with some hospice patients. And on the elevator, he discovers the listening device and naturally is a little pissed. But that's when the elevator starts to go a little wonky and starts going down instead of up as they had intended. And as the elevator arrives in the basement and opens, they come face to face with Memento himself, who slashes Dr. Bashar's throat right in front of Damien. He starts having PTSD about the little girl who had been severely hurt in the first issue, charges after Memento just as Bruce is trying to get to the Sacred Heart Hospital as fast as he fucking can, and arrives only to see Dr. Bashar on the floor, but a strange, I guess, mirage or after image of Bashar telling him that Memento has now taken his son. So what an ending, man. What a way to cap off the first part of this arc. Damien is missing, Bruce is losing his mind, everything is falling apart, except for my engagement in this story, because I freaking love this issue. I love continuing to see how Bruce and Damien work together. Even amidst this rather tumultuous point in their relationship, they still have that chemistry together. And also getting those moments where Bruce still is trying to connect with his son, which I can see as being a little redundant because the first, like, 13 or so issues of this run with Joshua Williamson was pretty much all about them repairing their relationship. And it felt like we had gotten to a place where they had mended things, and now it's like, oh, do you want to go out to dinner? Ooh, woo. Like, I have a difficult time connecting with you, my son, even though we just went on a camping trip like a couple months ago. Um, so I don't know. I can understand some frustration there, but I think it's less to do with the fact that they can't connect with each other, and more that Damien is going through this transitional time and feels like he doesn't know how to properly connect with his father, as he's discovering more and more of, what he wants to be in addition to being Robin. Now, when I say what he wants to be, I'm sure Josh is laughing to himself because he's thinking it's not going to be Robin. He's going to become something else. Well, Josh is not here, so he doesn't get a say as to whether or not Damien is going to be Robin. I'm going to say he's going to keep being Robin, but may also have other aspects of his life. But I'm getting off topic. this issue really raised the stakes, really raised the suspense. Now that Damien is off the board for a little while, who knows where Memento has taken him, and what he might be doing to him, and more pressingly, how the hell is Bruce going to find Memento when he's currently losing his damn mind? So I don't know. I feel like this is like a freaking action thriller, and I'm on the edge of my seat every month, like wondering what the hell is going to happen next. And this is like the the end of the season cliffhanger, and I'm like, where the hell are they going to go from here? But I'm definitely into it, so I'm giving this issue a 9 out of 10.
Hell yeah. I agree that Damien is going to keep being Robin.
Thank you.
Josh can deal with it. He's not here. I'm excitedly looking between the chat here in Discord to see what Josh
I
is
know.
going
I'm waiting
to
for him to
type
say
in
something, and
and just like
I'm sure
no,
he's taking his
fuck
time
you.
because he wants to word his thoughts very carefully. But you don't get to speak first. We do.
Oh,
'Cause
he's
we're
typing.
here.
He's
So we
typing.
lose.
Ah!
Oh Lord, here we go.
um, but yeah, no, this it's he called us dirty pirate hookers with mouths.
Ha!
Joke's on you. My mouth isn't a dirty pirate hooker.
Joke's on you. I love pirates. That's not an insult.
And mouths. But yeah, no, this it's been a hell of a story arc. It's really fucking cool, and I still stand by my thought process a little bit ago that like if they switched a couple of the titles for current story arcs right now in Batman, it might have fit a bit better because this definitely feels like a Detective Comics arc. Heavily so.
But I mean, definitely feels like a Batman and Robin arc too. They are the focus.
It's got both to it, I would say, because it's heavily a mystery, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of detective work going on, and like it, you could have other players in Detective Comics. It doesn't have to be Batman alone, right? Meanwhile, the stuff that's going on in, well, not the Batman ongoing. I know there was something else going on with Damien and Bruce in another book, but I can't remember what it is. Unless
Well,
I'm
in I mean the main Detective Comics title, yeah, they're going through the whole what's her name? Asma?
oh, I see, yeah.
That whole mystery, Asima thing.
Yeah.
And you know, they're still I guess that is a bit of whiplash, isn't it? Cuz here they're working together, but there's still a little bit of tension. While over in Detective Comics, it's like, my son, I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you, my boy.
Right?
And Damien's like, yeah,
Love you,
Dad.
Father.
Thanks for getting me out of jail.
Yeah. By the way, thanks for putting me in jail, you dick. This yeah, no, it's kind of weird. I agree that as much as I love PKJ's stories, and this one is no different, is really good. I've been saying for months I'm just tired of the father son drama. This one
Yeah.
seems to have a bit of a better backbone to it, and might actually I'm fucking hoping some longer lasting ramifications, and we might finally get an end to this until the next
It will
writer
never
takes up a
end.
Batman and Robin title and brings back the father son drama, because apparently
Ugh.
that's all people know how to rate Bruce and Damien doing.
Pretty
Is
much.
just father son drama. Just I'll admit though, I chuckled out loud when Bruce was like, "Let's go out to dinner and have like burgers and fried chicken."
Tacos?
Tacos,
Something. You
right?
like that, right?
Yeah.
And Damien's like, we don't eat that civilian food crap.
It's like, no, of course we do. Of course we'd have to like exercise more,
Yeah.
take on the carbo load, and
Yeah.
maybe fix the sodium intake, and it's like, yeah, there it is. Even when you're trying, you can't do it. Yeah, it's such an exaggerated sentence. Like, if we don't um, make up for the sodium intake, we're just gonna die out in the field.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's how it works.
that's
You eat one
excessive.
burger and you just keel
Just
over as you
keel
jump over a
fighting
rooftop.
crime,
Yep.
yeah. Oh no, my arteries.
Oh God, my body just couldn't take it.
No. A American food is just that
Mm.
bad. No, that got it. I had to like put the phone over to my wife and said, "Read this page," because she's like been trying to like be on a little bit of a health kick too. So I figured she'd get a
Yeah.
good chuckle out of that. But that I really liked. That was
Yeah.
funny. But I do like what's going on in Batman and Robin right now. It was very interesting stuff. The whole thing with Memento.
Memento. Yes.
Memento um, is very fucking cool. Very interesting stuff. And I have a feeling, like, I was thinking the same thing that Gravedigger's Poppy throughout this arc. I was thinking the same
Mhm.
thing as everybody else, that is kind of like a hallucinogen.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking it, based on what's happening in the book right now, especially what we saw with Dr. Bashir at the end there,
Mhm.
I'm thinking it might just give someone the ability to see ghosts.
Yeah. Or
It
like
might be a bit supernatural. It might be more supernatural than we intended.
there was a line I can't remember. I think it was in this issue. It must have been where it was like it- something like all the murders were etches in time and space
Yeah.
or something like that. And I think Gravedigger's Poppy not just gives you the ability to see ghosts, but very specifically see the ghosts of people who were killed by Memento. Like you see the
Yeah.
victims.
But why? What's the connection though between Gravedigger's Poppy and Memento specifically? Because I don't think that was ever
Well,
brought up.
that's the thing. That's the connection that is yet to
Yeah.
be revealed,
Yeah.
but it seems to have that effect.
Yeah. Like I found it very curious when Bruce had been seeing like images and people talking about Memento. Oh, he
Yeah.
took my face. He took my face. All across Gotham, and then he sees Dr. Bashir's body, and then he sees an image of Dr. Bashir saying he took my face, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. What who was what are you saying, Josh? That's what he was supposedly killed with? Who, Memento? But that's what I'm thinking when when I
Huh.
saw Brashear there. I'm thinking like, okay, that's the spirit of Brashear.
Yeah. Well, it's like people killed by Memento because it's possible that the knife itself is, I don't know, coated with Gravedigger's Poppy or something.
Yeah,
Like people who are killed by Memento, their memory, their spirit is kept alive in a way that only people can see if they have been exposed to the poppy. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm trying to find that line.
Either way, it's also gonna get a 9 from me. It'd be a 9.5 if it wasn't for the unnecessary father son drama. But
Yeah,
that's just me because I'm just tired of that.
it is getting a bit redundant. It's getting
Yeah,
very redundant for about 10 years now.
yeah. Fuck it. Let's say since Damien's inception, there's been father son drama.
Yeah. But at least we had kind of worked through it in the new 52, and then they were like, wait, no. Actually, no. Hold up. And then we.
Atticus Bly, that he was killed with Gravedigger's Poppy, because
I don't think they mentioned that,
it
no.
was Memento that killed Atticus Bly,
Yeah.
supposedly, but we also don't know if Atticus Bly be Memento,
Hmm.
if I'm following it correctly.
Hello?
Right?
You're really choppy right now.
Yeah, the screen's saying trying to. Okay, am I back
There
now?
we go. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, yeah, the stream said trying to reconnect. I'm like, what do you mean trying to reconnect?
That was weird.
Don't disconnect me, you fool. Um, all right, so we get into Action Comics number 1084, which I want to say is the last issue for Superman Superstars. Because I think next issue
uh,
is when we're.
Last issue for this arc, we have one more arc, and then it's going to be Mark Wade.
Then
taken
is the
over full
Mark Wade
time.
run. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if this was the last one before Mark Wade. All right, so this is Force Measure Finale, written by John Ridley with art from Inaki Miranda, colors from Eva De La Cruz, letters from Dave Sharp, and the cover from Gleb Melnikov. All right, so to put it a little more simply, Superman in the opposite of Somewhere, with Bruno Mannheim and Scorch, are facing off against Anaka, Zigby, Ducaret, and Larry. Some weird alien looking guys known as the Foreverers, which are people,
Everers.
Foreverers,
Jesus.
a group of people that um, want to live as long as possible because they want to rule and lead and be conquerors. And they are the ones that are paying Bruno Mannheim for the serum that gives them basically longer life.
Mm.
And they have no care whatsoever as to what happens to the people that the serum is being taken from. Right? Superman obviously has a problem with that, and he tries to have some words with them. It does not work out. Bruno Mannheim basically knows what's about to happen. Larry, the big guy who's just saying over and over again, "Die, die, red, blue man, time to die," or yeah, die, goes to punch Superman, and he gets taken out with one swift hit. That was it. But then Ducaretz reveals that with the telomeres that they have been taking, they not only get a longer life, but they also get a bit of the abilities that of the people that the telomeres were taken from. So he blasts Superman with purple energy. I could not fucking tell you who that's from. I don't remember who the hell is which now, but yeah, he blasts Superman with some purple energy, but it's still not enough. Because as Superman says, I wasn't afraid of the original owner. I'm not afraid of you. And he basically makes quick work of the other guys too. Even Larry gets back up, but then Larry gets taken down. Uh, Meanwhile, Scorch is ready to get in the fight. Bruno Mannheim tells her, "Look, you're not getting in there, and if you want I know the truth, and if you don't want me to talk, then you better do what you're told." And she tells him to go to hell, opens a portal to hell, and says, like, seriously, go to hell. Pulls him in, yells at Superman, and Superman punches the Foreverers into this portal, into hell, all except for Ducaret, who just willingly goes because he does not want to be touched.
Mm.
He's a bit of a snooty dick, I'll say. I don't know. So the fight's over there. Superman then says, "Look, I need answers now, Aubrey." She says, "I can't tell you, but there is someone who can." So they head to Macoop Lake in Ontario, Canada, which I found out is way, way, way the fuck up north in the middle of goddamn nowhere, um, which for some reason has a bench, and that's it. I've never been to Macoop Lake, but in my experience, the wetlands up there don't really have just benches sitting. I don't
Well, how do you
know.
know if you've never been there?
I've never been. I've been up into forest areas up there, and like I don't know. I could be wrong. By that as far as I've ever known, that part of northern Ontario is just woodland. That's all it fucking
Damn.
is. Yeah, with some roads and the occasional town, but for the most part, it's just woodland, especially the stuff around the lakes. But that's neither here nor there. Aubrey and Superman arrive and find a lone girl sitting there named Penny. Penny Forster? No, Foster. Frick is his last name. Oh my god. Penny Booker. Holy shit. I don't know why I was thinking Foster or Forster. Major Disaster's daughter. Um, she goes on to explain her brief history with her dad and how he was never really a good role model at all. Was a drunk and a loser and kept getting himself arrested and getting in trouble. And even when she developed her own powers and tried to go out to a life of crime, which you could see in Harley Quinn number 54 from 2018, Major Disaster didn't want anything to do with her either, which she couldn't tell if that was just him being a dick or if he was just trying to get her away from a life of crime. But by the end of it all, she started getting some money sent to him or sent from him randomly. Tailed him one time and found out he was meeting up with Max Boykin, um, as well as Scorch, who was also there at the time. She confronted Max and said, "Look, my dad's being a good guy now. You need to get the hell away from him." He gets into her face, says, "Your dad's not good for nothing. He's never going to amount to anything, and you need to fuck off," etc., etc. Excuse me, I'm paraphrasing a bit, but you get the gist. She tells him to shut up, and then her power activates, and he gets crushed by a giant rock. And turns out she was the one that killed Max Boykin. Major Disaster then tells her to get out of here, tells Aubrey to take her and get away. It says it's going to be all right. I'm going to do the only thing I've ever been good at and letting the world know I'm a piece of shit. Or letting the world think I'm a piece of shit. Or at least that's what she thinks he said. Because then that leads into when Superman showed up at the beginning of this arc and found Major Disaster and arrested him. So Major Disaster really did not do anything wrong. Um, he was basically arrested wrongfully, but by the end of this arc, he was not released from prison. I guess he's just taking the fall for Penny because Superman, at the end of it all,
I guess
let
so.
Penny go, um, and struggled with the whole concept of truth and justice because truth is out, but none of it really feels like justice.
Mm.
And Lois kind of lets him run with that for a little bit and gives him a shoulder to comfort, a shoulder not to cry on, but to be comforted on. And whether or not he should run the story. By the end, she says what they always say: at the end of it all, we need Superman. So that's that's how it
We
ended.
need hope.
Yeah, the last little bit there, I think, was a little lackluster, and I really feel like I could have enjoyed a bit more of um, an actual wrap up to what was going on with the villains because they were the bulk of this story was the
Yeah.
villains that were trying to go through the the reformation, if you will. Yeah, we're really getting the short end of the stick, and Aubrey got a lot of quote unquote screen time, page time, panel time, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. But Major Disaster, who really didn't do anything
Set this
wrong
whole thing
here,
off.
he was just trying to be a good father for once.
Yeah.
We find out at the end, and as far as we know, he's just still left to rot in prison, right? For a crime he actually did not commit. Which I will say, very honorable thing for a man to do, and I guess that's the thing at the end that Superman is struggling with is like, there's the truth that Major Disaster had nothing to do with it, but it's also not his daughter's fault in a way. It was a complete accident, but if I reveal that truth to anybody, his daughter's going to go to jail, right? End of the day, that's what's going to happen. So like
Yeah.
it's a bit of an interesting struggle, but I still would have wanted to see a bit more of a resolution with the villains that were involved. Um,
Or even
Secret,
just another like kind of scene with Major Disaster to kind of put closure on
yeah,
it. Like, is my daughter okay? Like, so you kind of get the sense that he, even though he's serving the time and he's obviously gonna kind of go down in the public court of opinion as being this, kind of horrible person, like he still feels comfort that he did the right thing and took care of his family, or tried to anyway. Tried to make
yeah,
amends for his past sins.
yeah. Like if they had the 2 pages he had with Lois instead be 2 pages of Clark or Superman going to jail and visiting him and like having
Yeah.
that conversation, and then he's like, no, like this is how it should be. This is good. She needs to be
Yeah.
able to have her life, and like I'm willing to make the sacrifice. Then Clark at the end wouldn't have to deal with that internal struggle of where the justice is, because
Hmm.
it would still weigh on him, but it would take a little bit of pressure off. Like he's not
Yeah.
the one being forced to make this choice. He's bringing the truth out to the people that deserve it, and that like letting them make the choice of what justice
Exactly.
is, right? Um, I think that whole concept is kind of counterintuitive of Superman, where he is truth and justice, but he doesn't want to be the be all end all. He doesn't want to be the judge, right?
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
up to him to decide what things are. It's just up to him to make things right, right?
Yeah.
And being the guy to decide whether or not Major Disaster should rot in prison for a crime he didn't commit. That's not up to him, and that's what he's about. He wouldn't think that way. He wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
So I agree. Like having a little bit of closure with Major Disaster, I think would have been a nicer touch. Um, but beyond that, I said on our Discord earlier, this might be my favorite arc for Superman Superstars. It was a nice,
Huh.
simple 3 issue arc. I believe it was 3 issues.
Mhm.
And it perfectly balanced Clark and Superman, blended them even to a point, brought up a whole bunch of lower tier supervillains that nobody would remember, and bringing about a rather interesting story that really hits home a lot about a lot of things on different facets of humanity, and it feels like a true action comic. And Josh had agreed with me when we were talking about it. He did say the fights felt rather quick, but as I countered, like, and I think he agreed too, like at this point, I wouldn't imagine every fight for Superman to be a fight. Like, I really appreciated that you had this guy that showed up and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you," and the Superman was like, "Yeah, whatever, flick away." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, clearly you've never heard of me, um, and you're just boasting. Like,
Mhm.
there's going to be some times where it's just not a struggle for him, and I appreciated that.
Mhm.
It still felt like a true action comic. I've been saying that this whole time throughout the arc, and I've really liked this one. I think
Yeah.
this really is one of my favorite ones of all of the Superman superstars.
Hmm. Interesting.
This was really good. I'm going to give it an 8.75 out of 10.
Nice. I'll give this one 7.75 out of 10. I think it was a solid conclusion overall. Like, uh, I do agree there should have been, or I wish there had been more closure to Major Disaster and some of the other characters introduced. But I don't know. I feel like the antagonist was a little undercooked, and for them to just kind of show up, explain what they wanted, and then kind of piece out or be pieced out by Scorch felt a little like just felt a little underdeveloped, honestly. Like a plot line that should have been more than 3 issues to really effectively make it work. And yeah, I don't know. I think I might have enjoyed it a little bit more if it had that time to actually develop it. But ultimately, it was just like it started as a mystery. It was kind of cool. Mystery's over in this issue, and the resolution is over, and then the whole arc is over, and you're just like, whoa, okay. I guess we're done with that. And
Yeah,
because this is a Superman Superstars arc, the odds of it coming back are pretty slim. So it just feels a little
yeah,
abrupt. Um, which is why I kind of wish they had gone the route of like the first arc to kick this whole Superstars initiative off, the Bizarro arc, which was just like, here's a villain, we're gonna start right from the jump, and that's it, right? Like, I think a mystery can be achieved in 3 issues, but ultimately, I don't think this one did the best job of doing it.
yeah. Fair enough.
Mm. Hang
I
on,
can get behind that.
give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
No worries. I'm gonna get into our next book. While you do that, which is Green Lantern Corps #2. Oh wait, no. I just did Action Comics. Okay, no, we actually have to wait for Brandon. um, yeah, our next book is actually going to be Aquaman #3. But I'll vamp a little bit more about Action Comics. I definitely can agree with that. Um, the bit of the Forevers did feel a little underdeveloped, but at the same time, they also, I think, like I was saying, like there's going to be some people that just don't know Superman, have never heard of him, and don't know what he's about. And I think if they did know what he was about, they would have had enough wherewithal and sense to just not do it. Right? Where do these guys come from? Why does one of them have a buffalo head? And why are they all fucking different? It's an interesting concept, and I think there's always going to be some characters that just show up and disappear without any explanation. And it might be frustrating at the time, but in the long run, I think sometimes you can just appreciate it. That there's not
Mm,
always going to be an answer. My biggest question is how the hell did they connect with Bruno Mannheim,
that is a good question.
and why? Why would they connect with Bruno Mannheim of all people? I think that's the biggest question left in my mind about the Foreverers.
Yeah,
Um, but that's neither here nor there.
I guess because he somehow, yeah. I don't know. That is a good question. I was trying to think of like I don't know, maybe because he had that intergang connection. He had some kind of play, being a former connection to Apocalypse or something.
Maybe. I guess that yeah, that could be it.
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, now let's get into our next book, Aquaman number 3.
Aquaman number 3. All right. Speaking of Apocalypse and the Fourth World, um, a cover that has nothing to do with this issue. Aquaman number 3 is written by Mr. Jeremy Adams with art from John Timms, colors from Rex Locus, and letters from Dave Sharp. After a quick flashback to Arthur and Tom Curry in the old days of the lighthouse, with Arthur questioning his father's position as the lighthouse keeper and why he wants to stay tethered to this position all his life. We cut to the present day, where Arthur, joined by Orion and what was her name? Lilynette, something like that. Um, oh God, damn it! What was her name?
Who was
The
that?
other. Sorry.
Who was that?
The other, the woman who was joining Arthur and Orion. I can't remember her name right
Oh,
now.
well, it's the Lady of the Lake,
Oh,
but
Vivian. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Vivian,
that was
yeah.
it. Anyway, Arthur, Vivian, and Orion are making their way across different planes to try and get back to their home. Well, back to Orion and Vivian's home, while Arthur really just wants to get to the bottom of what the hell happened to Atlantis and is not trying to deal with all this extra crap. But little do they know that a mysterious dark figure known as Dagon, who we'll learn about shortly, has plans for Arthur, the supposed dark tide. And that's when that's when Arthur, excuse me, fed up with all the cryptic crap, decides that he wants the answers like fully and clearly, and Orion gives him the backstory of everything that is happening here. Excuse me. Basically explaining that within the universe there existed order and chaos as elemental properties. Chaos, of course, at one point tried to upend the balance between the two, as was its nature, but order naturally retaliated and created certain aspects to help keep the universe in order. One of those being a concentration of energies called the blue, a confluence that exists between all bodies of water, but really just all bodies that exist throughout the multiverse. um, but one particular figure known as Dagon is trying to reunite all these elemental forces through the blue in the hopes of amassing great power. And the only person who might be able to stand against them is a figure from prophecy, the so called Dark Tide, which they believe is Arthur. So Arion and Vivian are getting ready to go through their ritual that will prepare Arthur as a vessel for this mysterious dark tide when Arthur is kidnapped by Lori Lamaris. You all know Lori Lamaris, Superman's old girlfriend. And no, that is not me just bringing up a deep cut. They literally say that in this issue, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah.
But Lori stabs Arthur and takes him through a portal, and basically is trying to bring him back to Lord Dagon before the prophecy of him becoming the Dark Tide can be fulfilled. Um, Meanwhile, just as the ritual is being completed, Orion and Vivian realize that Arthur has been taken and that all hope may be lost. And we bring to a close the flashback story of Tom and Arthur Curry, with Tom explaining why he does what he does, saying that there has to and should always be someone out there to lead people through the darkness. I don't remember what I gave issue two. I think I might have enjoyed it, but I have to say this probably is the strongest issue so far. I mean, the first issue started off pretty cool, coming in hard, swinging hot. Second issue was fun with the whole Jenny Green Teeth thing, but this really felt like, okay, now we're getting into Arthur's character a little bit more, getting into what he is motivated by, and getting more into the mythology of what Jeremy Adams is trying to set up with this new era of Aquaman. So I feel like I'm finally getting a better sense of what this book wants to be, and I really appreciate that. And the art from John Timms, especially in some of those action sequences towards the end, is really great. So all around, some really cool stuff here. Give this one an 8.5 out of 10.
Right on. Sorry, I'm just looking up. So I meant to do it earlier and I forgot to. The full definition or meaning behind the lambda,
Huh.
if you caught that. Um,
I don't remember.
okay, so what type of lambda particle is subatomic particles? So axioms, poetical illusion, that's shield of the Spartans. It's about like a number theory, Raymond's hypothesis, is used for likelihood ratio, dependent variables, matrices, diagonal matrix, computer science, astrophysics. Presents the likelihood that a small body will encounter a planet or dwarf planet leading to deflection of the second magnitude. Crystal optics, electrochemistry. There's a lot of definitions of this. Holy crap. It's a Bragg reflector cosmology. Accelerating
Where
expansion
did
of
you
the
see this?
universe. It so the portal that Lori Lamaris and the other, I guess, mer people came out of was in the
Mm.
shape of a lambda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Huh.
it was not. It was very similar to the Omega symbol
Oh, the
portal.
symbol, yeah.
Yeah, the symbol. Yeah, it was the portal shaped like a lambda, and now that's starting to have a bit more of a meaning, because obviously like Arthur came through a portal shaped like the Omega symbol, another
Right.
letter of the Greek alphabet, much like the lambda. So
Mhm.
now I'm just wondering if that Omega symbol was very much a red herring. It had nothing to do with Darkseid, which is kind of a coincidence. And there's these
Yeah.
portals that are just shaped like letters of the Greek alphabet,
Right, yeah.
connected to the blue for some reason. I'm just trying to figure it because I meant to look it up earlier, what the connection to a lambda could be, but there's so many definitions for what a lambda could be that I just don't have fucking time. So I don't know.
Yeah. Jesus.
um, that's that's a question for Jeremy Adams, and I'm sure
Yeah.
he has an answer because I like it. It's just something I clued in on. I'm like, huh, I recognize that symbol. That's interesting.
I didn't even spot that.
I think I spotted it first. I'm like, it's a weird. Like, is that an Omega symbol? No, that's not the Omega symbol. What the fuck is that? Right?
It's a
And
Greek
I saw it
something.
like I don't remember when I recognized it. Just like it just jumped out at me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a bit of an interesting development because there's something going on with these portals and why they're shaped the way they are. So
Yeah.
I think the Omega symbol being tied to Darkseid is a red herring, and that there's something a little different going on with it. I think that's
Mhm.
just a coincidence that happened to be an Omega symbol.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll have to see. Um, excuse me. That this story arc is getting really good. I really like this direction for Arthur. I am with Arthur though, where I'm just like fucking just tell me where my wife and kids are. Like, where's my people? That's what
Enough of
I'm
the
here
mystic
for.
bullshit.
I'm not here to fight the blue or any like bloody fucking emperor you got going on. I don't need like no weapon or mystical bullshit. I just want my goddamn family. Give me my family. And it's like that's what I want to know too. But like I get it. It's gonna fucking happen. He went through a mystical portal, ended up in some grand magical adventure. It's gonna fucking happen. Right? That's what happens when you walk through mystical portals.
Yeah.
So I'm all about it. It's like the tie-ins alone to this already is just the historical relevance and significance, not only with like comic book lore, but real life lore at the same time. That it's just blowing my mind how deep Jeremy Adams has taken this story arc with only 3 fucking issues. Right?
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
Orion, the King of Atlantis. You have Vivienne, the Lady of the Lake, and she's tied to the blue, which is a force of the universe, like the green, the red, the rot, the gray, and it ties all water together and is supposed to be the force that brings everything life. It is the hope of the universe. And hey, you know what else is blue and represents hope? Blue lanterns. Like holy shit. it's just it's there's so much going on just connecting. Like the fact alone that they had Lady of the Lake be a forger and she's tied to the blue. Like, god damn. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
swinging pretty big. You're getting
Yeah.
even primordial in a sense with the
Yeah.
whole, you know, at the very beginning of time, there existed 2 states of order and chaos living in balance, which is not something that we haven't heard before, but
Yeah. They talk
um,
about every so often.
I think, like you said, connecting that to other aspects of the DC mythology, like the Lantern Corps or the emotional spectrum, like the avatars of various parliaments, such as the Green and the Red and the Rot and the Gears, I think is the one from Rob B's run. Like all of that, maybe less so the Gears, but all of that being tied into this sort of mythology that he's establishing is, yeah, it's, I'm surprised honestly, because usually with an Aquaman book it's like, Atlantis is in turmoil again, oh no.
Yeah.
But this one is swinging for the fences right from the jump, so it's pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, like it's exactly like you said. The first arc is usually just Atlantis is needing a hero,
Mhm.
or Atlantis is attacking the surface world,
Yeah.
and then you usually don't get a story arc like
Or
this
vice
until, like,
versa,
30
the
issues
surface is attacking Atlantis.
later.
The
Yeah.
surface world is attacking Atlantis. Oh no, we
Oh
have to
no.
respond.
Whatever shall we do?
Mhm.
Like political discourse? Okay.
Yeah.
Is Arthur going to fight the U.S. Army?
Yeah.
No, he's going to meet with the president.
Yes.
What gripping storytelling! It's like reading fucking C-SPAN. No, like that's like he's like you said, swinging for the fences. I am all for it. When I finished this issue today, I turned to my wife and I said, Jeremy Adams is quickly becoming one of my all-time favorite writers.
Oh, that's high praise, man.
And quite honestly, like between his Flash run, his Green Lantern run, what he's doing with Green Lantern Corps, and now with Aquaman, I'm loving all of it.
Yeah.
I can't lie. Like he's revitalizing a lot of freaking characters.
I
and
will
making
say
it
one
very,
thing.
very interesting with a lot of fun adventures.
I will say one thing. One slight criticism. It's just a writing quirk, but I'm gonna need. I mean, I don't think he listens to the show, and I don't imagine the next time we'll have him on our show. But if you could chill out with the ellipses, that would be very nice. Because it's kind of, I know people use it for dramatic effect in writing, where you want to have like a little bit of a pause, or someone is saying something in sort of a wistful manner, but there are way more ellipses in here than should be. Like literally, go through it again. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah, I gotta check that out again. I might not have realized that. Ellipses for life, says Josh.
Like, please calm down. You don't have to put ellipses after every single expression.
I gotta look that up and see.
I'm gonna pull a panel that has like 5 in one sentence.
Oh, this. Yeah, I gotta look at this now that you brought up. Yeah,
It doesn't affect the story. It's just a writing quirk, and
yeah.
it makes it a little bit plodding to read at times. It's like every character talks like Swamp Thing.
Quite honestly, at that point, when I was reading that panel, I don't think I even realized there was so many of those because I just read it as one big paragraph. I didn't even read it with the pauses.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that. I
I
think I was
usually
just
try and read it with the intention that is conveyed in the way that
yeah.
the way
I
that
think
it's structured. But
with that panel specifically, I was kind of just taken with the art because I was trying to figure out who was talking where
yeah,
because I didn't remember Orion.
hmm
How the fuck would you pronounce his name?
I always said Orion.
Orion, yeah.
Mhm.
With like that long black cloak around his waist.
Yeah,
So I was thinking that might have been Vivienne, but like, wait, then who's that? Like, I couldn't tell who was who, so I didn't even register that there were so many ellipses.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Huh.
just chill out with the ellipses, please.
Fair enough.
It's a little
That's
bit too much.
that's a fair debate, I think.
It's just a writing quirk, like I said. It doesn't have anything to do with the story, but it is like I don't know. It's just like every character is like, yes, we must go. Pause.
Yeah.
Every character speaks so dramatically,
Yeah.
or with such I don't know, such dramatic pauses.
Yeah. It is a
Um,
very dramatic book.
yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah, that's fair. No, I freaking love this arc. I love this issue. I love Jeremy Adams writing Aquaman, and next time I see him at a convention, hopefully Fan Expo this year, I'm gonna ask him if there's any other characters he wants to bring to life. Because I want more Jeremy Adams writing DC comics,
yeah.
especially after
We had
now he's DC exclusive. Like hell yeah,
yeah. We
yeah.
had. I remember we shot around the idea of Booster Gold, which I still think is a
God,
great idea.
that's a
Um,
fantastic idea.
but I'm sure he's got some
Yes,
things cooking. Still
yeah.
waiting for whatever young superhero book that he was teasing with Travis Mercer. So
Oh yeah, I keep
I'm
forgetting
sure
about that.
when he pops up at New York Comic Con next fall, I'll maybe be able to ask him about that, assuming the book isn't already out by that point. But who
Unless, or
knows?
it's announced during that.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of the tragic thing was I remember telling you guys I was like he was supposed to announce Aquaman on the panel and then it got fucking leaked the night before. So I showed up to get what was that? Like Green Lantern signed or something. Um, and I was like, "Can I congratulate you on Aquaman?" He's like, "It's already been leaked. You can. It's fine." I was gonna do a whole reveal with my T-shirt, my Aquaman T-shirt, but everyone knows now, so it's not even a surprise anymore. So hopefully this one is kept under better wraps.
Yeah, I just wonder what it could be. I'm hoping
Yeah,
like Connor Kent.
yeah,
Yeah, or
or Gold Beetle,
or Teen Titans.
or t- or Teen Titans, or Teen Titans. He says that would be fucking awesome,
That white, right? It would be.
man. Steph
Yeah,
leading the Teen Titans, that would be
ugh.
freaking awesome.
God, can you imagine? Would she though?
I could see it. I don't know. Anything could happen, but I
Steph,
like
Steph
the
would have the
idea of it.
wherewithal to be a leader. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it is following that lineup that we had, I still think it's probably closer to like a Young Justice. But God, that would be so awesome if it was Teen Titans, because it had was it the West Twins, Quiz Kid, and whatever. Oh, whatever Mr. Terrific's son's name was, I can't remember.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's right.
Brain something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if it's just that lineup and maybe a couple of other young sidekick characters, man, I'm so on board. So
Yeah.
on board if that's the Teen Titans.
Yeah, that'd be fucking cool. Yeah, like
Yeah.
have Steph and Cass have the Batgirls as a pair
Mhm.
on the Teen Titans.
Or just Steph. I
Just,
mean,
yeah, but
Cass
like
has
I
got the
feel like
birds. Cass has got her own solo. Like, let's let Steph
let Steph shine a little
shine a
bit
little
by
bit.
herself.
You know.
Yeah, I just love the pairing though. Steph and Cass as a team.
Yeah.
I love that,
I agree.
and I feel like Steph taking on a leadership role would be fantastic. But I think having Cass there would help rein her in a little bit and like be like a second in command that like a pseudo second in command that would just like
Mm.
rein her in a bit when she gets a little overzealous, or be a friendly wisdom taker that if she ever needs some advice or like a tip on like maybe what should I do here, like maybe you should do this. Like I think that
Yeah.
would be an interesting little dynamic. Yeah, have those at least. Yeah, Steph, Quiz Kid is a fantastic choice. Uh, you'd have to
Oh
have.
shit. Wait, actually, never mind. Maybe I'm crazy. I guess maybe that book isn't happening because I was just looking it up to see if there had been any updates, and I'm seeing some Reddit threads saying that it's apparently the pitch did not move forward.
Oh,
So
okay.
now I'm depressed. Fuck. I was
Gotcha.
really holding on to that for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole yeah, I remember now. He had it in the Flash, I think, right? You had
Yeah.
Quiz Kid, Terrific's Kid. You had
The West Twins and
Maxine. Was it?
Maxine, yeah.
And Irie.
Mm.
That would have been a fantastic Teen Titans.
Yeah. Damn.
Oh man.
Oh well. Ugh, God. That sucks. Man, I was holding out hope for that book so I thought it was already done. I didn't realize it was a pitch. I thought it was
Yeah.
something that had already been approved. That sucks.
Well, yeah, that does
Oh God. Yeah. Jesus.
I will. Okay, so Aquaman though, I will say there doesn't seem to be much I can say apart from how much I'm loving it. I'm love the I talked
Mm.
about the lore connections. That was fantastic. Laurie Lamaris was way out of left field, and I really hope there's a bit more explanation as to what that's about. And I
Yeah.
just love the little like caption, editor's note caption that says Laurie Lamaris. If you want more about Laurie Lamaris, check out Batman Superman number or World's Finest number whatever she was
Yeah.
in. Just
For the last time they
like
interacted,
but
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 I.
she had like a good number of issues in the 70s, was it?
Well, not even just that, but I'm like, you see Lori Lamaris, and the first thing that comes into your mind is, oh my God, this old Atlantean friend of mine is now coming after me in this kind of sinister way, and the first thing you think of is she dated Superman that one time. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, right.
If someone's coming after me and they're like, I'm gonna kidnap you, I don't think I'd be thinking about whether or not they dated one of my coworkers, but to each their own, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing you're pointing out I didn't catch. Yeah, that's really freaking weird.
Mm.
That's a good point. I'm gonna give Aquaman 8.5 for now.
Nice.
What'd you give it?
Uh, did I score this one? I think
No.
not. Maybe. If I didn't, then I will also give this one an 8.5.
Right
Interested
on.
to see what the hell happens next with Arthur as he faces off against Dagon, whatever that dude's name is.
Another question: how many characters I think I want to say in just the DC universe alone are called Dagon? I feel like there's
Uh,
a few. So I feel like I've
maybe.
seen the name Dagon thrown around a lot over the past few years, and they've all been different people. And I want to say it's been in
I
DC Comics
can't
alone.
think of anyone else. I mean, that's definitely a name I've heard before, but
Yeah.
um, yeah. There's a character in Jujutsu Kaisen. It's called Dagon, but I
Yeah.
can't think of anyone else right now.
I don't know, I'd have to look it
Uh,
up and double check just
yeah.
history of Dagon.
Huh.
Anyway, on to our next book, Green Lantern Corps #2. I'm looking at my score list, not the actual issue. Silly child. Right, this is written by Morgan Hampton and Jeremy Adams, with pencils from Fernando Pasarin, inks from Auclair Alberts, colors from Marie Prianto, and letters from Dave Sharp, with the cover from Pasarin, Albert, and Prianto. So, in hyperspace on route to Thanagar, we see John, Razor, Kilowog, and Shayera Hall all heading straight to the ruins of Thanagar, um, which is quite the sight to behold. Shayera had not seen it in a bit, and John just gives her a bit of a quick, I'm so sorry. Kilowog gives Razor the rundown about what happened with Mogo and how he wasn't in control, and it was the Red Rage. Um, and also trying to understand Razor's connection with the Green Lanterns, because he, as we all know, was used to Red Lantern and Blue Lantern. Green carries a little more weight to it. It's a little harder to control, but he likes it so far. But before they can get even further into that, they have company. There's a ship hovering above the ruins of Thanagar, beaming right down into the core. And as we see on the ship, it's none other than Atrocitus without a ring. In fact, he's got some weird black battlesuit armor on, and with him is also Dexstar, who also has a black battlesuit on. And we also see Bleeze and Nightlick.
And is able to talk without his
Yeah,
ring,
was
I
gonna
guess?
bring that up. That's not like.
Not sure how that works. I'm assuming maybe the suit that is allowing
Maybe?
him to siphon some red energy. Well, spoiler. You should
Spoilers.
get through.
I was gonna
We
wait
should
till I
get through
to
the
that
issue
part.
first. Yeah. Why don't we get to that later?
Yeah. No, I was gonna bring that up as soon as like they're Bleeze and Nightlick are there, and some other guy, there's some monkey dude, um, all sorts of Red Lanterns, and Razor recognizes most of them. But yeah, no, like Dexstar being able to talk, really weird because if y'all never read Tales of the Blackest Night #2, maybe 3, with
Something like that, yeah.
that origin of Dexstar that will make anybody cry. He's just a cat from Earth named Dexter,
Yeah.
right? He's just a normal freaking cat. The ring gave him the ability to talk. And my God, was that a good story. But yeah, no, that was on my mind too. Like, how the hell is he talking? Jeremy Adams, I love you, but this is a nitpick. All right, so with that bit of a recon done, John and Shayera go onto the ship. John, knowing his way around this Voltarian slave transport ship, he knows quite well because he's been around the block a few times, as he says. He knows a quick way to get in through the cargo hold, and they keep very safe and out of sight. Except for the fact that Dexstar is patrolling across the hallways. Shayera shoves her and John into a closet where they end up face to face, very awkwardly, very Brooklyn Nine-Nine like, if you will. That's the vibe I got from it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Very awkward. Um, as you could easily tell that there's some some romantic entanglement.
Something going on
there.
there.
Yeah.
Also, their absolute like deadpan expression. I'm still not fully on board with whatever they're trying to build between the two of them, but even that one kind of made me laugh.
Yeah.
Where it just cuts back and forth between their completely empty stone faces.
Yeah.
Just
and
like, no emotion here. I will say nothing to make this worse.
I didn't even catch it at first. I thought they were like staring into each other's eyes, but then you get the side view of the two of their faces together, and Cher is like looking up at John's eyes, and John just like straight looking at the wall, just, like, trying his best not to look at anything else because he does not want to be in the situation. I didn't even catch that until just now. That is hilarious. And he's also like pushed up against the wall trying to get away from her. Holy crap, that's funny. Yeah, I agree. Like I wasn't completely sold on this at first, but that little panel has got me a little more interested
Yeah,
in what they're
that was
trying to
pretty
do
funny.
here. Meanwhile, Kilowog and Razor have gone underground, so to speak, even though the underground is pretty much open now. Find Bleeze, Nightlick, and the monkey, who is yet to be named, discovered a giant piece of nth metal. They report to Atrocitus, who says they need to take it, except then they get a little alert that there are intruders on board. These set off the alarms. John and Shayera decide that maybe they need to hurry up the pace a little bit, so Shayera breaks down the door they were trying to get into and finds none other than Zelias Zox, who still has the Red Lantern suit on, and most likely is still coursing Red Lantern energy through his body, um, which was very interesting reveal. Um, and upon looking into it, they discover that maybe Zelias Zox is still channeling Red Lantern energy because the emotional spectrum is in shambles, as we know, and they're using the nth metal to channel that into what we don't know. Well, here comes Atrocitus. We discover, as Brandon buried the lead earlier, the suits they're wearing channels Red Lantern energy so they can still access uh, Red Lantern constructs, etc., um, just without the rage downside of it all. So Atrocitus takes the fight directly to John and Shayera. Meanwhile, Kilowog and Razor now have to fend off. I keep wanting to call him Johnny Sorrow, but that's not
Yeah.
right. The Sorrow Lantern, Nathaniel Broom, has shown up because he wants the nth metal. Because Starbreaker says with this they can stop the pain. Kilowog is not affected by his grief forming powers, which causes everyone else to feel nothing but sorrow, depression, and grief. Because he's dealt with his grief a long time ago. If you know about Kilowog's history, you know that's the case. So he makes some work of Nathaniel Broom, Nathan Broom, Mr. Broom.
Mr. Broom. Yeah, Nathan Broom.
Nathan Broom.
Nate Broom, if you will.
Nate Broom works. Um, but during the middle of that fight, he accidentally sets off a chain reaction that unleashes all the rock around them, the bedrock. Um, he gets Razor out of there. Nathan Broom is left there alone as the other Red Lanterns fly off. And then we discovered that the nth metal, giant hunk of nth metal, is a lot bigger than they realized and is actually a giant egg-shaped piece of nth metal, which was seemingly in the core of Thanagar. And that's where our issue ends. So, a couple of revelations here. Shayera and John being very fucking awkward. Maybe John should have taken Razor. I don't
Seriously.
know. Nathan Broom being there was way out of left field. I was kind of surprised to see him, but I thought the whole thing with like Starbreaker and the Sorrow Lantern was going to be a little bit more um, on the nose and like very direct into the story, but maybe it's going to be a case of they're going to take their time with it and he's going to pop up here and there, which is what I'm getting with this. Um, like he just popped up here and I did not expect that. And that makes me feel like he's just going to be like a recurring character throughout the story until they finally get into a final battle with the bunch. And I'm also realizing there was something that was bugging me about Mr. Sorrow here. That we called him a Sorrow Lantern because he got his power from a ring, and he had like a lantern like symbol on his body, even though it was in the shape of a teardrop. But he's yet to actually use any light based powers. His whole power has been
You're
about
right.
some kind of fog, a mist, right? So maybe he's just the Sorrow. He's not a Sorrow Lantern. He's not a Green Lantern. He's not really a lantern at all. He has a ring that will give him the power, but that ring is maybe just like a channeling of the emotion he felt. And the emotional spectrum isn't necessarily just about light.
Right. Well, I guess the counter would be Blue Lanterns technically couldn't make constructs either. Their only power really was to assist
Yeah, they
Green
could power
Lanterns
Green
and
Lanterns and heal
yeah,
Green
and power
Lanterns.
them. Yeah, but
They,
they
they
couldn't.
could use constructs around Green Lanterns. The Green Lantern
Mhm.
energy gave them the ability to use constructs.
Right. Okay. Because yeah, I remember some. It said something like they couldn't make constructs on their own,
Yeah,
but really all we've seen this thing do is affect people's emotional state. So there is definitely a power that can have an impact on other people, but it maybe doesn't have the capacity to make constructs like a normal lantern can, because at this point it's only a fractal lantern, and for it to fully achieve that, it would need a power battery or something. I don't know. I'm trying to rationalize it, but
that makes sense. Like, that could honestly be it. I didn't think about it that way. And that's a very good point.
Mhm.
You are correct. I don't know.
Were there any other lanterns that couldn't make constructs?
There was, to a certain degree, the Indigo Lanterns,
Yeah.
because as much as they couldn't make constructs with any indigo energy per se,
Hmm.
they could just channel other um, lantern energies.
Hmm.
But it wasn't necessarily that. I mean, Jean, when he was wearing the indigo ring, he made a black lantern sniper rifle.
Okay.
He made a
Hmm.
construct with black lantern energy, but like that don't mean left, right, or whatever about indigo
Yeah.
lanterns. But I'm also thinking like it could also be he's very new to this, so you
Hmm.
still have a point. It's just the fog that's kind of getting to me
Yeah.
about that, right? It's always around him, and it seems to be what he can control. But I was
Hmm.
also thinking when you mentioned that Jessica Cruz, when she first got the ring, and it was a big plot point throughout the first half of the Green Lanterns series, she
Yeah.
couldn't make constructs either. She struggled with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten about that. And
yeah,
even actually to your point about the fog, I was just thinking like when red lanterns first would get there or would manifest their powers and the ring would come to them, they would always be like spitting up blood, and
yeah,
it took a while until they could get that under control.
yeah,
So it could kind of be like its own spin on that, in that the fog is just a byproduct of him having all these emotions being released but not having the full control over him yet.
yeah. Yeah, because who bloody knows? I can't wait for us to get like more info on the capabilities and the extent of Nathan Broom and what the hell's
Mm-hmm.
going on with him. Um, I'm loving this concept with the Red Lanterns right now that they're still squatted up. Atrocitus is still a leader, and they're just siphoning Zelias' ox. Why him of all people? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because in the
Yeah,
Red
interesting
Lantern
that
series,
he's
he
the
never
only one.
really seemed that angry.
Yeah, I know. It's like interesting that of all the Red Lanterns, he's the one that is still able to manifest rage like that.
Yeah, like he's the guy that when he took a trip to Earth, he's like, "What's a testicle?"
Yeah.
he seemed more curious than angry, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, and this giant nth metal egg in the middle of Thanagar. That's if it is an egg, what's gonna hatch out of it?
Oh God,
You know,
I shudder to think.
it's a planet of bird people, so I imagine there's something
Well,
inside.
are we sure it's an egg? Could it just be
Looks
an
like a
nth
fucking.
metal core?
It could be, but it certainly looks like a fucking egg on a planet of bird people. And you might say to me, like, hey, Rob, there weren't only bird people on Thanagar. That's right, there were lizard people too, and sometimes they lay eggs as well.
Yes, it's
It
true.
could be a lizard bird. We don't know. Maybe it's. What's the god the Thanagarians pray to?
Um.
Exal is Tamaran.
Fuck. I.
Rao is Krypton.
Oh wait, no, it's the yeah, the literal bird god that Carter became the embodiment of, but I can't remember.
What was called?
Fuck
What, in
me.
Death Note? Or
No,
not?
no, no, no.
Not Horus.
Uh, I don't know. I'll find it later. Yeah,
Gronmir was Mars.
yeah, no.
I, I can't
The fuck was it?
remember. Anyway. Um, Yes, I don't know. I think it's an egg. We'll have to see. It's a surprising revelation, regardless. It's a
Yeah.
giant ass chunk of nth metal. I also want to know how the hell nth metal is supposed to help Sorrow and Starbreaker make a power battery.
Yeah. They have some kind of process according to the multiple books of Oa, but
Yeah, unless
yeah,
that's like they need the metal to make the actual battery. But like, I don't remember any other lantern battery needing actual metal to be made. Kind of
yeah,
just like
no.
appeared. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Not that, yeah, not that
Yeah,
I
no,
know of.
it's an interesting story. I'm liking the fact that we have a Green Lantern Corps book back again. Um, let's fucking see where it goes. Still, like
Mm,
it's issue 2. We're still building this plot. I like it so
definitely.
far. It's getting an 8.5 for me.
Hell yeah.
All right, and our last book of the week, final issue for this run, and
Ugh, so sad.
Josh is getting some vindication by the end of this issue. It's Black
Yeah.
Lightning number 5, brought to us by Brandon.
Yes, sir. Ah, Black Lightning number 5, the final issue in the series, as Josh said. I'm very depressed. Um,
Yeah,
written well, but it's, as we'll
it's
see, maybe not the
yeah,
end of the story. It's an end of a chapter in this story.
exactly. It's the last
But
issue
I
of
am,
Black Lightning, but it's not the end of Black
yeah.
Lightning.
It's not the end of Black Lightning's story, though I do wish it could continue with this creative team.
Yeah,
Nonetheless, this is written by Brandon Thomas, with art by Fico Osio, colors by Ulysses Areola, and letters by Lucas Catoni. Um, as Black Lightning is getting the crap beaten out of him by the Sons of Liberty, trying to fight them off with a little assistance from Lightning, Thunder shows up just in time to take them down. Um, and thankfully is able to control her powers with a little assist from Grace Choi, who shows up to help her just when the chips are down, even though they relationship is a little complicated right now. Their relationship is a little complicated. Um, but their next move is to go after Volcana and her team, revealing that Volcana had sent Windfall over to the Sons of Liberty, um, but with the knowledge that they would nullify her powers, basically meaning that Volcana was working for someone else this whole time. So naturally, her team members turn on her. Black Lightning, Thunder, and the rest of them are able to bring them to justice before Thunder gets in the final blow, demanding that Volcana give up the name of who she's working for. They're able to get it out of her. Of course, we don't see it. We get a little bit of resolution on some things with Jefferson possibly getting back together with his ex-wife. That story's complicated. And Anissa possibly getting back with Grace Choi, please. But that's also complicated.
yeah.
With Jefferson making one final pit stop at the end of the issue to meet with Councilman Harriman, basically revealing that he was behind the whole thing. Definitely saw that one coming. And that even though he's got all these plans in the works, supposedly Council Harriman does, Black Lightning is going to be standing against him this entire time with the hope that people will not succumb to blind hate, as Councilman Harriman suspects. Before heading over to the metahuman alert that just went off, he decides that he's got to do something for himself, so he heads over to the barbershop to get himself a nice little cut before he gets back on the job. And that's when one Josiah Power comes in, as Jefferson had invited him there, and informs him. Jefferson informs him that he's still pretty busy, got a lot going on, but a new opening in his schedule just opened up, and he's decided that after the talk they had, he's going to think about things a little bit differently now and wants to have a conversation about a little organization you may or may not have heard of called the Power Company.
What's a
Man, what an
power
ending.
company without some electricity? You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. Get some power in that power company, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Um, man, what an ending. I am sad, very sad to see this book go. I really hoped it would push beyond just the 5 issues.
Yeah.
But solid enough ending. I will say the whole, like, reveal slash exposition dump at the ending kind of felt like, I don't know, it felt like, I'm trying to find the right words for it, but it wasn't anticlimactic. It was more just like, we just got to make sure we tie up all the loose ends because the series is
Yeah.
over. And not that that was bad. It just, I don't know. I feel like I wish it had been a little more organic than let's just shove it in the last few parts of this issue. And so really that was just my major complaint, where it's literally just be like, you did this and this and this, and you were tied to these shell companies that paid money to the Sons of Liberty and the Masters of Disaster and this and that. And I was like, oh, I mean, yeah, I kind of suspected that, but here we go. Um, so that was just a little disappointing, but I think that was just more product of them not having that much story left with which to reveal everything. But I did like the moment at the end where Black Lightning really kind of stands up and says, all these Waller was right people may be trying to push their rhetoric, but like, you'll see that people will overcome that, which we kind of have with Absolute Power, but um, this book just kind of continues to reinforce that ideal. Um, but more than anything, I'm just so glad that the House of Thunder, as they're being called now,
Yeah.
really got their justice in this series. Like, it was so much fun seeing Jennifer, seeing Jenny, I forget his ex, what, Lynn, I'm sorry. Seeing Lynn, and eventually getting to see Anissa overcome her difficulties with her new powers and really re-enter the heroic role that she's had in the past. Like, getting to see that stuff, in addition to seeing how awesome Black Lightning is as a character, was just a real treat for this series. And I think that, for me, is like, that was the strongest core of this, was getting to see the supporting characters of Black Lightning's sphere really get their time in the sun. So I hope that that continue, because I get the feeling the power company is going to be very Black Lightning focused, and probably won't have a lot of time to focus on the rest of the House of Thunder members. But I hope they get to feature in some capacity in whatever comes next, because I really enjoyed that aspect of this book, and I hope they can continue that further. But yeah, no, this one gets an 8.75 out of 10 for me. Solid ending. Like I said, a little bit rushed with some of the exposition stuff, but other than that, I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to rereading the series.
Ditto. I don't know if I'll reread it because it's still pretty fresh. Maybe in like a couple years.
Mhm.
Because yeah, it might be a little soon for me. But it was a fantastic read. It was a fantastic story. I agree. I wish it would be a little longer, but it definitely felt like Brandon Thomas had this story he wanted to tell to build to Black Lightning joining the Power Company. Who is going to be writing the Power Company special?
I think it's like Brian Edward Hill or something.
Oh, okay. So if it was Brandon Thomas, I could see that being a thing.
Yeah, but
But
I
it's
checked
not
the
him.
solicits for the Recharge one shot or something, and he's not writing it, which kind of sucks.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I don't know. Not write that down yet. Uh, yeah, it's Josh had been saying for a while. Like, it definitely feels like Black Lightning by the end of this is going to be joining the Power Company. I'm calling it here, and well, he fucking called it. You get your vindication, Josh. Well done. I'm all for it. I think it's a cool idea. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with the Power Company. I agree with you that I hope we can see the House of Thunder kind of show up a little bit more. Really cool lineup, and that Jefferson can trust his daughters to kind of spearhead his mission with the Justice League for now. And he just pop up when he needs to help out. He trusts them enough, and they're more than capable to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So all the power to them. It's really cool to see. I think it was a nice little tie up, nice little round up to the arc and to the story. Fuck, it's gonna get a 9.
Hell yeah.
It was cool. It was a really cool run. I liked it, and lends a bit more weight to the idea that Brandon Thomas gets nothing but minis.
One of these days, he'll get his ongoing. I
One
believe
of
it.
these days, yeah.
But, yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, unless it's just what he wants to do. He has He has ideas for short stories, and that's it.
It's possible,
I'm not
but
against that, but
I get the impression that there are bigger plans, and sometimes it just doesn't work out.
yeah.
Cries in Aquaman.
Ugh. Don't remind me. I was so excited about that book.
Mm.
Yeah, he was cooking with that. He had some big plans for that book, but like,
That first arc
God.
felt like such a warm up for big things to come,
You know?
and it was a solid opening arc.
Yeah.
But I cry for what could have been if not for the death of the Justice League.
And he even had like two miniseries leading into it with Black
Yeah.
Manta and I can't
And
remember what the
Aquaman
Jarvis-
the Becoming.
Yeah, that was at the Becoming. Yeah, like leading into Aquaman, and like this, such a great setup. He was building it for like a year, and no, they had to fuck it up with a dumb event.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But you know what? It's in the past. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I'm not gonna hold on to this like I hold on to my Spider-Man grudges.
I will hold on to that grudge. I forgot about that grudge, but you reminded me now. I need to hold on to it.
Shit.
All right, with that, that is the end of the books we had for this week and last week. Hallelujah, we did it in under 4 hours.
Yes. Wow. Like, freaking, how many books was that?
11?
Yeah.
11 actual reviews and then 2 honorable mentions. Yeah.
And to think, it takes us like 3.5 hours to talk about 4 books. Normally.
Normally. We did 11 books in 3.5 hours. Plus news. Plus tangents.
Yes.
Plus personal stuff.
We're really
Plus
just,
talking Josh.
like, awesome.
Yeah, we got this shit. That's why this episode is called Brandon and Rob. We don't need no number. It's not that I just forgot to change the title. It's because we're awesome. But yeah, no, we'll get
Josh,
into...
even though he's not here, is also awesome. But, you know, because he's not here, it means we can trash on all of his opinions. And we can't do a thing about it except leave comments, which we can just ignore.
Oh,
That's
Great.
called power. I should be in the power company.
you should be in the power company. I call you Display of Power now because you have all the power. All right, let's get into our top 3 and favorite moments.
Let's do it.
I got to figure out what's going to be number 1. So my top 2 are scored the same, but my number 3 is going to be Action Comics. My number 2, I'm just going to say is Black Lightning, and number 1 is Batman and Robin. I'm going to put it like that for now because I'm kind of digging the Memento story a little bit more right now.
Fair enough.
It's a really good fucking story.
Yeah.
Favorite moments for me is going to be from Batman and Robin with Bruce saying to Damian, "Let's go have some civilian food." Oh, it was a great page.
That was too good.
Great fucking page. Yeah.
Man, this is a tough one. There were some good books this week.
There was.
I almost feel like I'm doing myself a disservice because there were some really good books last week too.
Yeah.
But of the
Oh,
books,
I didn't even factor in.
I
last
know.
week's books.
I was trying to factor that in too, but let's just focus on this week. At number 3, I'm going to put Aquaman number 3. At number 2, Black Lightning, and at number 1, also going to give that to Batman and Robin because I am digging this Memento story, and it's like it really is an arc or a storyline that just has me on the edge of my seat. Like, what the fuck's going to happen next? I need to know. But my favorite moment, it was so tough because I want to go with the incredibly awkward, like you said, Brooklyn Nine-Nine-esque moment from Green Lantern Corps. But I did also love, there were a lot of cool moments in Batman and Robin, but also that super cool splash page of thunder and Black Lightning. Man, I don't know. So I'm going to say forget all those, and I'm just going to give it to freaking Aquaman and him like having his flashbacks with Tom Curry. So there you go. Because I can't decide, so I'm just going to go with a complete out of left field pick.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's fair. That was a cool moment. All right. Well, that's our show. Josh usually does the outro, so I forgot how to do this.
I
Josh,
don't
get in
know.
here.
Or you could just like put it in the chat and we'll read it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Really. All right. Now, at the end of the day, the what the fuck is
Oh boy. This is what happens when you take out the most talented member of the Geek Matrix crew.
Yeah. We just get lost.
We don't know what to do. We're lost
dude,
without
how,
our captain.
We're just gonna be here till tomorrow morning because I don't know how to
Like,
end it.
oh fuck.
Good thing we know how to go on tangents.
Yeah.
We just talk all night. All right, no, we got to get out of here. So you have to as well.
Yes.
Yes.
In the
Cue
Geek Matrix,
closing music.
everyone has a home.
Oh yeah.
In the Geek Matrix, you are
Matrix,
not
we're
alone.
Peace.
And there it is. Ugh.